Uh-oh. What am I seeing in chat? I really appreciate your time here, Ladarm. I almost never get healthy discourse out of this subject, lol. That's always a red flag. People are discoursing? What's the discourse? And you don't need to be a death cult to be bad, too. Some people will exploit people's hard time without the death-glorifying aspect. 100% Abrahamic religions, death cults. Oh, you know what? My Reddit atheism really evolved on this one when I changed how I thought about it. Okay, you know that idea that rationality is not an attribute, it's a process? Like, there's not actually such a thing as a person who is rational, like an attribute of them, you know? There are people who tend to be rational. There are people who are predisposed to it, or people who just engage in that behavior more often, but it's a behavior, right? It's the same way when you say a person like you know is running, you're describing a behavior, not like a permanent attribute of the person. It's the same with religion, because there are tons and tons of atheists who engage in religious thinking, right? There's religion in like the conventional sense, and then there's religion in like the Durkheimian sense, you know, the distinction between the profane and the sacred, you know. And then you have I guess religious thinking, which is, you know, that's, I mean, that's all over the place, right? That's all over the place. You don't need to be religious to engage in that. All right. Dude, I look like ass. I need a haircut so badly. But it's been so cold out. It's not that cold. Yeah, I know. It's been like 45, 50, whatever. But it's been windy. You know, it's been storming up here in Washington, right? Like the massive flooding, 100,000 people evacuated. So it's not so much the cold, it's just the biting wind. And it's not like impossible. I could go out in shorts if I wanted to, but I don't want to. You know, there was a period of time in my life where I very performatively was like, the cold, this is nothing to me. I will continue to wear shorts and a t-shirt. Nothing can stop me, you know? But I'm over that. I don't need to do that anymore. People already know I'm white looking at me. I don't need to prove it with my behavior. Whenever Vosh rambles like this off cam, I just picture him rushing to put on pants before stream. You're not wrong. I mean, you're wrong in this specific case, but I think that on a spiritual level, you're correct. You know, on the sentiment. How was your road trip? It was great, but that wasn't yesterday. That was the day before yesterday, but it was great. You know, don't be white is the lesson. Then a white boy can get a bit silly with it. You know. Now I get to wear an alpaca wool cardigan and be happy. That sounds really nice. I only have cotton cardigans. Not really appropriate for the real cold. What's in your arm? That would be a tattoo. Trump might announce war with Vuvuzela tonight. Well, the Epstein files release in 2 days, so, you know, gotta distract people. Wait, is it new? No. What was your first ever concert? I think my mom took me to a Disturbed concert when I was like 11 because I liked the band. And she did too. Super fun time. Hey, same. Specifically, mom, Disturbed? Isn't their lead singer the one who signs Israeli bombs? Yes, but I'll have you know that 20 years ago, as an 11-year-old, I wasn't really thinking about I don't know if he was like that back then, but it wasn't really at the top of my mind, you know? It was a simpler time. Yes, Israel did not exist back then. What's the famous song Disturbed did? Whoa. That one? I forget. AU. 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 Couldn't it be the fact that you lost a lot of weight, which is very insulating, and now the cold bites much deeper? Oh, that's 100% true. Yeah, absolutely. I was definitely more cold resistant when I was fat, or fatter, I guess. And especially when I'm dieting. You know, whenever I'm trying to lose weight and eating below like maintenance, I get cold so much easier. Just a little bit of extra food in my belly pups up the cold resistant, you know, I don't know, properties of my skin. Do you have heat resistance now or no? Of all of my friends, I am the one who likes high temperatures the most. I grew up in LA, so I don't know. You know, on the really really hot days, like I don't know, 95 plus or whatever, there's a certain okay, in between like 80 and 95, I'm uncomfortable. Above 95, you hit a threshold where you just have to accept that life is suffering, and then I'm having fun again. Like 94, I'm suffering. 95, I accept the suffering, and now I'm in it. It's kind of like how you could never get comfortable if somebody was lightly jabbing you with a needle, like randomly, like you're trying to sit in class in school and somebody's jabbing you randomly. You're like, what the fuck? Like you could never ignore that. But if you're getting a tattoo, once you accept it and you understand, like, yes, the next 2 hours of my life is going to be getting prodded with a vibrating needle, then you can get back to relaxing, as long as it's not too bad. You know, it's not like an infinite. Yeah, the mental preparedness is essential. And once you've accepted and stopped trying to run from the suffering, you can just embrace it and live with it, you know? Tattoos seem like such a pain in the ass. Only if that's where you're getting the tattoo. It really depends on where you're getting it, you know? There are plenty of places where you can get a tattoo, and it really does not hurt that much. Some places it hurts like shit. I don't have a bunch of tattoos. I have 2 of them, but I know people who have a bunch, and, you know, a lot of variety. Rib tattoo, I've heard, hurts a lot. Yeah. And yeah. The skill of the tattoo artist makes a big difference, you know? You want to look for tattoo artists who are capable of clean, thin, consistent thickness lines, you know? Like on their website or whatever they're showing off, like what they've done in the past, seeing the consistency, like very thin straight lines, whether or not it's part of their art style, just knowing they can do it, usually a good sign. Does it matter if you're ticklish in the spot? Um, probably not. I don't really think it tickles. It's a pretty sharp pain. I don't really think it tickles you. Like even if it was in a spot that's ticklish, it's you know, I don't think so. I don't think it's going to activate that feeling. Don't use numbing gel. No, you don't want to use numbing gel. I've heard that it can fuck up the tattoo. Okay, not fuck up the tattoo, but it can numbing gel can potentially alter the chemical properties of the skin and the reception that it has for the ink, right? Because you want like a very specific way of dealing with the ink. Bad for blood flow and recovery. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. But I don't think it like ruins it or whatever. It's just you know, it's something to keep in mind. Fucks up skin texture, yeah. I think it's also you shouldn't get it when you're on your period, right? If you're menstruating, that can also is something to do with the blood flow, or I've heard this from multiple people, so I don't think it's made up. I think it's real. I just don't know what is it during the period or like right before it. I don't really know. Seems like a pain. Just get on a fuck ton of painkillers? No, because painkillers are blood thinners, and you don't want that. You want to just raw dog it, I think, ideally. Just eat a bunch of food beforehand. Did you lift today? I did some light stretches. Don't get drunk either. You'll end up with a totem car. Well, you also don't want to thin your blood, but yeah. Is he sick again? Oh my god, lol. Oh, I'm not sick. I'm congested, but I always am around this time of year. And also like half of the other times of years. Listen, I'm a live streamer, okay? I'm a live streamer. What was I before I was a live streamer? I was a nerdy computer boy. And I still am. You know, what do you think I'm doing over here? Not Oh, my allergies, my glasses. Of course I am. Yeah, and also, most importantly, I'm a drama queen. Thank you. Absolutely. I am a homosexual. Or one of the types, right? Thoughts on the E33 director admitting they used Gen AI in development beyond that one placeholder texture? Well, I feel like that was kind of obvious, right? They would never use AI for just one placeholder texture. That was just where they forgot to replace the AI, you know? They probably did it in a bunch of places. Now Larian Studios is getting in on it, and they're being defensive on social media, and it's like, God damn, man, just I can't wait for this fucking craze to die down. You're that kid who freaks out when they get sand in the potato salad. Well, I don't live in the Midwest, and my parents knew how to cook, so I never really ate potato salad growing up. I'm sorry. Um, but yeah, if somebody kicked sand into potato salad, I would probably also not be happy with it. That sounds pretty bad. I don't know. Oh, that's AI slop. That's AI slop in my Israeli FRPG. No! Are we cool with Gen AI if the training data is ethically sourced? No. Do you like coleslaw? Eh. Potato salad sounds like Israeli shit. Sure, dude, whatever. Who the fuck needs words anyway? Jesus. Have you seen the billionaire who runs a $130,000 a week burnout clinic for other billionaires? What? No, I find this aggressively uninteresting, you know? People love to write stories about these like day camps for insecure wealthy men, and they're all fundamentally it's always the same story, you know? Everyone thinks that the problem is the world, and if they just get a break from the world, the problems will go away. In reality, the problem is inside here, you know, 100% of the time. So you can run off, you can do your billionaire daycare, you can go off to your camp or whatever. The problem's going to follow you. I code the mouse. Someone needs to vibe check the Swifties. Is it true that Taylor Swift is one of the only artists who has not admonished the Trump administration for using their work? Is that real? I thought I remembered them beefing at some point. Or was the beefing one-sided? Gavin is now sourcing controversy-stricken streamers for policy advice. Is Atrioc really a controversy-stricken streamer? Come on. Also, Gavin Newsom have been and Atrioc have been friends for a while, you know? Like they keep interacting over and over again. But I don't really know anything about Atrioc, so I don't even have any jokes lined up, you know? I think I've even seen them talk. Spilled.gg. What the hell is this website? There was this one time where Atrioc was caught making deepfake porn of other streamers. Wasn't it just one other streamer? I think I half remember this drama. Um, he said, Grok, show me the hot chick I work with, but naked or something like that, and it got found out. That's pretty fucked up. I think I remember he was like really apologetic after, and I don't know. I don't think you can really like permanently knock a person out for that. Seems kind of, yeah, he like knew her. Yeah, it's pretty weird. I don't know. It was his friend's GF Vosh. She's not mad about him doing it anymore. I'm not going to hold a grudge longer than the victim does. Yeah, I don't know. It's again, it's what the internet does, right? I've been realigned so much in how I view internet drama because it's like the world is being torn to death by pedophile death cultists, you know? And in the face of that, it's so difficult for me to engage seriously with nonpartisan divides, right? Is it people, oh yeah, this guy's generally fine, but he was like kind of weird or like, inappropriate one time. I don't, okay, I don't know. I mean, that's bad. I'm not saying it shouldn't be criticized. I'm just saying that sometimes people have this weird tendency to equivocate. You know what I mean? Where it's like, okay, on one hand, this is the neo-Nazi that we all know, and on the other hand, this is a guy who agrees with us on 90% of things, but he's like weird in this respect or something, or he did like this bad thing, and people flatten it. It's like, well, these people are all bad. And I don't really think that's true. Probably not. Hey, nice. My beautiful partner would like to inform everyone watching that they have just beaten the Trial of the Conqueror in Hollow Knight. That's the second of the 3 gladiator arenas.
We're not talking about people's lived experience. And we miss that. And with Atrioc, he kept bringing that back, that systemically for decades, this economy has not been working. 10% of people own 2/3 of the wealth. Half the consumer spending is that top 10%.
Bro, this guy might be president. Bro, I got...
Careful, Atrioc. If he credits you for his positions, that means you're on the hook for his press office defending Ronald Reagan. Yeah, I credit Atrioc for my economic takes, and, anyway, that's why the Republican Party needs to return to the good old days. This motherfucker better not be president. If he wins the primary, I swear to God. Jill Stein, where you at? You've yet to get my vote, but this one you might get by default. Can we get a president who doesn't get their policies from streamers, please? Whoa! I know at least one good streamer. Come on. He couldn't possibly win the primary, right? Right now, like, we know, or at least signals seem to indicate Kamala Harris is, in fact, running again. She started to pick up some of the campaigning momentum. She's, spoke... She won't deny an interest, and it seems like it's all getting lined up. So we're gonna. It's pretty much. It's at least at the right now. It's Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris. That's what we're looking at. I choose Newsom. Well, Newsom is probably more likely to win than Kamala Harris would be. Oh. Expanded book tour, appearing before the DNC. Yeah. Newsom is worse. Harris isn't anti-trans. Yeah, but I think Harris would probably lose. So it's kind of like the evil you get. I don't know. Fuck both of them. What is it that makes California politicians so awful? Jesus, I don't know. Capital? Same thing as, New York, I suppose. Insincerity? Who else would you see run? Right now? No, I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. We're 3 years out. Pete Buttigieg? I'm not signing up. Best shot we have is discovering cloning and making Mamdani too. If we clone him in the United States, he'd be a citizen. Ay. A lot can happen in 3 years. A lot of good, a lot of bad. Who knows? All we know is that Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom are at the very least going to be competitors in the primary, right? Like they are going to be active heavyweight participants. So I do not know if anyone could be fielded that would beat both of them in the primary. Jasmine Crockett. Holy shit, you're here every single time this subject comes up. Do you have like Google alerts on for whenever Gavin Newsom gets mentioned? Because that's like the CIA trigger word that makes me start talking about how I'm going to vote for Jill Stein. Can't wait to see you, TYT, and Fox cry when Newsom, you misspelled Newsom, becomes president, smiley face, and JD Vance loses big. Maybe you, TYT, and MAGA can leave for Russia. Why are you giving me are you pitching me a bit? Are you setting me up for like a rebuttal? I don't know if you believe this. If you really believed it, why are you giving me money? It's crazy. Like if you do believe it, it'd be interesting to engage with, but my insincerity alarm is ringing, you know? I have no idea. I don't want to take the bait. Just say thanks. Thanks for the $5. There are a lot of people who think that you are a traitor to the Democratic Party if you have not already preemptively pledged your vote to Gavin Newsom. You know what I mean? Like if you haven't laid it all down on the line, now you're basically guaranteeing a Republican victory, and that's bad, and you're bad. Why are we still in a two-party system? The way that we have arranged our political system does not really allow for a third party. You can have schisms sometimes, and you can have one party basically implode and be replaced by another, but mathematically it is a two-party system and will remain a two-party system. It's just the way it maths out. There's not really anything that you can do about it without fundamentally restructuring the way our elections work, which I'm not against, I guess. It's just a matter of like, can you do it? You know, are you capable of doing that? Because that's tough. Press office folded and started FDR posting after Reagan. Or in other words, like, you don't believe in anything at all. FDR would have had Reagan disappeared. Reagan would have been like a little pissant governor under FDR's thumb. He would have squashed him like a bug, you know?
Very distinct honor to introduce our next speaker. Not a plan.
In these rooms together for many years, and I had a chance to greet all of the members of the podium.
God, I hate looking at her, but I have a feeling I'm going to be doing a lot of that.
Earlier today, and Ken, I just want to say in front
Love that mic quality at the DNC, by the way. The DNC.
Everybody, thank you for your leadership. You've been doing an extraordinary job. Thank you. Thank you. So it's great to see you all. Welcome to California. How's the temperature treating you? So let me just say,
I actually can't listen to that. I can't listen to that buzzing. I can't do it. I'm not doing it. Is there another recording? So, whoa! Autoplay on the Kamala Harris YouTube channel. Bold. What about this?
independence in the Constitution.
Incredible. The audio being used by Forbes Breaking News doesn't have the buzz the DNC event does.
Of the United States. So thank you for everything that you have done, that you are doing, and you will do. Meanwhile, social media, which once promised us to make us feel more connected, is increasingly making us feel more isolated and divided. And all of this is happening against the backdrop of a political system that appears to not only be fractured, but broken.
Wow. Incredible stuff.
Both parties,
Madam President,
have failed to hold the public's trust. Government is viewed as fundamentally unable to meet the needs of its people. In these and in so many other ways, the people feel that the very institutions that were designed to support them have failed them.
wow.
So as we plan for what comes after this administration, we cannot afford to be nostalgic for what was in fact a flawed status quo and a system that failed so many.
Wow.
We cannot advocate for nor settle for a simple return to what existed in the past. The work ahead.
Why can't any of the Dems be authentically angry over the past year? Because they're not, because they love this shit. It's great, you know? They were all sweating at the end of Obama's term because, you know, everyone was angry with them. People were dissatisfied with what Obama had done over his 2 terms. People felt like the Democrats weren't that effective. And then Trump liberated them. Trump won in 2016, thus giving Democrats like the easiest job as opposition party in the world. Trump is so bad, so incompetent, so monstrously, evil in what he advocates for, that they get to take a really, really, really comfy seat in the backbench. Same things happened again, you know. Look at what happened during Biden's term. You know, they were fucking miserable under Biden because they don't have any intention of doing anything. They're not going to do anything. But all of a sudden now they have to argue as though they are. You know,
Ed requires us to reinvent, to innovate, to inspire. And understand that the task before us is not just a political project. It must be a project of civic renewal.
wow.
It must be a project of civic renewal. Many of you know, throughout my career, I have invoked a consistent mantra: the power is with the people. Well, this idea, we all know, comes from the founders. It's not an original thought. It comes from the founders. That in a functioning democracy, we, the people, have the power to shape our own fate. But today, Americans are skeptical of whether this remains true. Americans wonder whether hard work alone is enough to ensure a good future for themselves and their families. They worry that the forces impacting their day-to-day lives.
Do we really have to keep listening? I promise you that after this, we don't have to listen to her for a while. Okay? How about that? It hurts? Yeah, well, listen. It hurts me too.
Are beyond their control. And is it any wonder when today so many of our nation's political and economic power is concentrated in the hands of the very few?
Wow.
Is it any wonder that the people feel this way? Is there any doubt that
exact same thing that happened in 2016, by the way? The Democrats were gearing up for another platform of incrementalist centrism. Like, that was the big message that Hillary Clinton was going to push. And as Bernie Sanders got to be more and more popular, she had to whiplash. Her rhetoric had to shift. And all of a sudden, she was a transformative progressive. Now, obviously, her underlying policies didn't really change. But yeah, again, it's what you get when these people, all they listen to is consultants, So they're never the first one to lead in an issue. It's like how Hollywood and big game studios never, ever, ever want to take risks. So they're only willing to make sequels, The Democratic Party is only willing to make sequels of its own rhetoric. They're not willing to chance out on something unless it's been tested over and over and over and over again.
such concentration of power is the mark of a corrupted system, that it is corrosive to our democracy. So a primary task, I believe, must be to confront this excess concentration of power and provide greater agency to everyday citizens. We must reform our institutions in ways that will put the people back in charge, in a way that actually...
What about AOC? No, I don't think AOC is a viable presidential candidate for a few reasons. Also, I'm not happy with her at the moment.
...promotes the general welfare. And while a project of civic renewal may sound lofty...
I'll talk more about that when I read donos.
...especially given the challenges of this moment, I believe that it is a necessary endeavor and that it be grounded in certain values that I know we all share. The values that all forms of work contribute to the public good and deserve dignity. And all Americans performing that work deserve to be rewarded fairly. That in addition to economic security, Americans' well-being also depend on health, safety, and connection with family and community.
Wow.
That technology should be harnessed on behalf of the public interest, and at its best, it should always seek...
Would you rather she get the nomination or Gavin Newsom? I would rather Gavin Newsom be the winner of the primary than Kamala Harris by a pretty decent margin. And I would still hate it if Gavin Newsom won the primary. But yeah, I would prefer him to her, like, significantly. At least he's competent, right? She's just... Her messaging is dog shit, and always has been. To be fair, if you were on the stage instead of her, what would you say differently? At literally every word, probably. I feel like there would be very little in common, to be honest, with what she's saying and with what I'm saying. But it goes beyond that. Again, the bar for what is she calling it? Civic renewal is getting higher and higher because we've reached a breaking point. We probably reached it a while ago, but it's more and more obvious that we're on the other side of the line. This country will die unless taxes skyrocket on the wealthy. The wealthy need to be not just like brought in, but wrangled, like cattle. This country will die. We do not have the money to pay our debt. We do not have the money to pay our infrastructure. We do not have the money to maintain our social services. We don't have the money to do anything right now. We are pathetically broke when it comes to paying like for the basic amenities and social services that you would expect of a country this wealthy. And there is no way of fixing that without a kind of tax raise that neither party right now could do. I'm not talking 1 or 2%. Okay, we're talking like the game's over. I know that for the past 80 years, the entire world has been caught in this rat race of who can become the first trillionaire or whatever. But it's done. We're ending it right now. It would be such a decisive blow against global capital. It would be such an aggressive action. It would very possibly lead to like actual national schisms. I mean, it would lead to like real problems. And you would need a president capable of weathering it. You would need a president capable of putting their feet in the ground and saying, I don't care if this, aligns the rest of the world against us. I don't care if this means a bunch of businesses flee America or whatever else. I don't care about the flight of the wealthy. I don't care about the feelings of the wealthy. We are bringing their money in. I don't care if we have to tax it or seize it. I don't care if we have to send 1,000 agents of the IRS over to the offshore bank accounts, the Panama Papers shit. We are getting the money. And I'm not trying to like aura farm with empty slopulism here. I genuinely do not think this country has a future unless we do that. There isn't enough money. We're running out, man. We're running out of money. That's real. It's crazy, but it's real because we don't tax any. And the more we don't tax it, the more all the USD in the world gets hoarded in dragon piles. They're not. It's not being circulated. So, yeah. Are the billionaires hoarding all the pennies? Yes. But if we brought the Panama Papers money back, would it lead to hyperinflation? No. Or at least not necessarily. I mean, all the quantitative easing in the world has not actually moved the needle that much on inflation. So as long as the money supply is well managed and regulated, no, I don't believe it leads to hyperinflation. Will there be some inflation? Sure, there should be. It's supposed to be 2 to 3%, whatever. But no, it can be done properly. I don't know how we survive without it.
To enhance human ingenuity, not replace it, to deepen our connections, not sow distrust among us.
Total capitulation to Silicon Valley and the AI bubble, by the way. To use technology to enhance us, not to replace us. Yeah. That's what they all say.
That the government derives its legitimacy from the people.
Wow.
And so it must be responsive to the actual needs of the people, be more transparent in its activities, and most of all, that it cannot be bought by outside interests.
Wow.
That the advancement of justice and equality strengthens society as a whole, and upholding the rights of the marginalized fortifies the rights of everyone.
Like how when there was an anti-trans pogrom actively being perpetuated by the Republican Party, her response to how she would protect trans people is she would defer to the laws of the states.
That to reinstate
including
a
the
sense
Republican
of civic
ones.
solidarity, we should provide more opportunities to perform national service. And we must invest in public education, public spaces, and ambitious national projects that remind us of what we can achieve together. And that the strength of a pluralistic society requires that we embrace our differences.
Pluribus reference?
With more than just tolerance, but with mutual respect and trust, with the belief that though we are different, each of our fellow citizens is a neighbor. These are the values.
How is this tolerated in a post-Mamdani America? Buddy, this is a DNC conference, okay? All of the people here fucking hate Mamdani and are infinitely, undyingly loyal to Israel, okay? These aren't regular people. These are the people that control the Democratic Party.
Values that I believe must guide our project of civic renewal. So going forward, let us make a new commitment to the common good, one that declares our country will be commanded not by big corporations or career politicians,
Wow.
not by the elite or wealthy, but
Utter
by
just with absolutely no irony from her. They will say fucking anything, dude. They will say anything. They are as willing to co-opt the positions of their opposition as Hitler was. You know? What did Hitler say the Nazi Party was going to do for working Germans? You know, secure union rights? You know, they will say anything.
everyday citizens, each working to fulfill their potential, not just for the betterment of themselves, but for the betterment of the country. A commitment that declares that the power of this country does not belong to any king or set of oligarchs. It belongs to we the people. And I'll close by saying the stakes have never been higher, but we are clear-eyed with grit, determination, and fire that this...
They've been saying this for a decade, man, and they've just been losing ground ever since.
moment demand...
She said no. Again, like to the liberal, or to these liberals, I should say, because there are liberals who actually believe in liberalism. To these people, none of this matters. All of this is symbolism, you know? These are phony gestures that they invoke because they believe it adds legitimacy to what they are and what they represent, which is, of course, corporate control of the United States. More competent corporate control of the United States. You know, the better option.
That when you know what you stand for, you go out and you fight for it. We fight for the future. We fight for the people. And we love our country. I thank you all very much. Thank you.
Remember when she ran on price gouging, then turned around and said corporations aren't the enemy? Yeah. No, it's you're only ever going to get this from people like this, and it's why I just want all of you to be ready, because I'm going to be engaging in I think I'm going to be engaging in some pretty harsh anti-democratic language over the coming election cycles. I'm being polarized, you know? Again, listen, if you're mad about that, it has nothing to do with them not being socialist and everything to do with them not even being liberal, you know? If they were actually liberals, if the Democratic Party today, in policy or in behavior, even remotely represented the liberal origins that they hearken to, then we would not be having this conversation, okay? Yeah, we're going to be voting for Trump in 2028. That's true. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Do you think you were too charitable towards Biden and Harris at the start of their admin? Too charitable, like now with hindsight, or too charitable for the time? I don't know. I think for the most part, my analysis tends to be pretty on, I suppose. I've always been pretty cynical about what they represent. I guess I have been let down. I think, in fairness, though, I think that you have to give yourself space to be disappointed, because the easiest thing that you can do is set yourself up so that nothing can ever disappoint you, because you're already expecting nothing of anything. And that's not really analysis. That's just hedging your bets. You know, it's kind of like intellectual cowardice. You're guaranteeing that you're never embarrassed for having had unfounded hope. It is what it is. I didn't expect Biden to genocide Palestinians for literally no reason. Yeah, that was pretty bad. That was pretty bad of him, yeah. To hit the big red button that says, let Israel do whatever it wants and keep the government from, you know, opposing them in any way. It's pretty bad. I wonder if it keeps it up at night. Biden? No way. Nuh-uh. Did you hear about Bill Maher's anti-socialist rant? What the fuck you... Hasn't Bill Maher made like 1,000? Why? How is that? How is it noteworthy? Isn't that every Bill Maher rant? Yeah, is this the first Bill Maher rant you've ever seen? It's not a novel position from him. It's about Mamdani? Yeah? Bill Maher's a Zionist and also a conservative. Of course he doesn't like Mamdani. And yeah, fucking idiot. Yeah, for sure, for sure. For sure, yeah, 100%. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, why he is leaving so soon? What are you talking about? Hold on. I'm trying to find... The reason I'm quiet, I'm trying to find this fucking video. Here we go. Wait. Is this what I want to see? It is what I want to see! Fun news, you know? I know some people are going to file this in the nothing ever happens category because, you know, we're all spectators here. We're all throwing peanuts from the nosebleed seats. But, as you all know, due to a massive bag fumble on the part of the Democrats and, you know, unmitigated evil on the part of the Republicans, the ACA subsidies are set to expire at the end of the year, thus substantially increasing the cost of healthcare premiums for tens of millions of Americans. A few Republicans in the House have broken with the wishes of Mike Johnson, which he seems to be pissed about, and have voted to put that bill forward to be voted on in the House again. And judging from the votes it has right now, it seems pretty likely that it's going to make it through the House. Now, I think it's bad if I conceptually, on a moral level, I think that the idea of a bunch of people dying because they can't get health care, I think it's bad. So, not to give credit, any undue credit to Republicans, but I am happy they're flipping on this, you know? That is nice. For moderate House Republicans, oh, I love to see it. You know what that means? It means they're scared. From swing districts, Democrats are already eyeing for next year's midterms, have broken ranks with Speaker Mike Johnson signing on to Dems' petition to force a vote on extending health care subsidies. Brian Fitzpatrick, Ryan McKenzie, Robert Bresnahan? Yes. And Mike Lawler. They're all sort of up for grabs next year. You know, they're not exactly in safe red seats. And it seems that, and I think they're correct on this, they worry that their failure to vote for the ACA subsidies would probably guarantee their loss in 2026. Wasn't the vote already promised when they opened the government? It was promised in the Senate, and they did the vote, and it failed. That was a couple weeks ago. Now this is in the House.
All right, there's more breaking news we're following. Now at least 4 Republicans have joined in with a Democratic effort to force a vote.
By the way, yet another example of schisms forming within the Republican Party. I would not be surprised if now that this is being forced to a vote on the floor, more Republicans shift over to vote for this. Not just these 4. These are just the ones. It's like the Epstein discharge petition, where only a few Republicans voted for the discharge, but once the bill was forced to the floor, every Republican voted for it, except for the one guy, the one pedophile from Louisiana or whatever. More Republicans are probably going to shift over.
On extending those soon-to-expire enhanced Obamacare subsidies.
Johnson is looking super weak right now, yeah.
congressional correspondent Manu Raju, who's up on Capitol Hill. This is a big rebuke of the House Speaker, Mike Johnson. What else can you tell us?
Yeah, a major rebuke. Remember, this typically does not succeed in the House of Representatives to force a vote on an issue in which the leadership opposes. But this has happened time and time again to Speaker Mike Johnson, even though he is adamantly opposed to extending those expiring subsidies under the Affordable Care Act, something he says that simply should not happen because of his concerns with the current legislation. He's moving forward on a narrow health care package later today that does not extend those subsidies. But just moments ago, 4 Republicans in the House of Representatives signed on to a Democratic effort to force a bill to extend those subsidies for 3 years. Those 4 Republicans are from swing districts.
Thank you, Thana. I was actually looking for this and failing.
Hold the House. I have not lost control.
Because this is the third time.
There are look, we have the smallest majority in U.S. history. Okay? These are not normal times. There are processes and procedures in the House that are less frequently used when there are larger majorities. And when you have the luxury of having 10 or 15 people who disagree on something, you don't have to deal with it.
Do you think McCarthy would have been more effective? No, not really. As I've said, Trump's seeming invulnerability only works if everyone in his party is scared of him and moving along in lockstep. The moment the Republican Party breaks down into infighting or there are schisms over electability under Trump and people start disagreeing with him, it all goes out the window. Mike Johnson has done a good job of turning the Republicans in the House into a rubber stamp, to getting along with anything the president says, no matter how stupid or ineffective or myopic or damaging to their own reputation, But now, now that it seems that Trump is getting further and further underwater, it's getting harder and harder for Mike Johnson to control the House. Yeah, McCarthy would probably be doing much worse.
Of them are from Pennsylvania. Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick, a swing district Republican, one of just 3 Republicans who sit in districts that Kamala Harris won in 2024. Also, Mike Lawler of New York, another one of those Republicans in a swing district, and 2 other Pennsylvania Republicans, Rob Bresnahan and Ryan McKenzie, making it official that there are 218 votes on this signature, on this petition, which means that this bill will come to the floor probably in January, which will still be after those subsidies expire. It would still have to pass the United States Senate, but also this very significant rebuke of the Speaker of the House. I caught up with some of those members who are very frustrated at the opposition of the leader, of the Speaker, including Congressman Mike Lawler, who didn't mince words about the Speaker's handling of this issue.
So where does that leave you?
I am pissed for the American people. This is absolute bullshit, and it's absurd that we are in a body with 435 members. Everybody has a responsibility to serve their district, to serve their constituents.
What do you say, though, to the Speaker who's not going to give you a vote on this ACA extension?
That's a failure of leadership. I mean, we have, members on both sides who believe this is an urgent issue, and it is for all of our members in terms of what their constituents are going to have to deal with in the start of the new year. So what's wrong with having a vote?
And that last comment came from Congressman Kevin Kiley, who also represents a swing district in California. He has not yet signed on to the effort to force a vote, but you can expect him and others to likely vote yes when this measure comes to the floor in mid-January, meaning it could pass by more than a majority. We'll see how comfortable a majority.
Which means that at this point, there's no way to avoid at least 1 or 2 months of the premiums being sky high before any new subsidies could possibly kick in, likely more than 1 or 2 months. This might swing around to being really bad for the Republicans. After how badly the Democrats have fumbled this, I didn't think it was possible, but Republicans shifting over on this now means the burden is once more on them. If Republicans start to narrowly support a Democrat measure, now they're the ones who are being obstructionist again. They were the ones who took too long to come to the conclusion. So I don't know. It really is a game of what's the TV tropes term? Idiot ball. It's the SpongeBob stupid orb. They're just tossing it back and forth. It's unbelievable, really. Comedy of errors. Thank you.
It passes in the United States House, but ultimately, Wolf, the question will be what the Senate will decide to do. This will pass the House probably in January.
Yes, the orb of confusion.
Then in the United States Senate, where they've already voted, the Republicans have already voted to block the Democratic effort to extend those subsidies for 3 years. Will it pressure any Republicans to change ranks? There are ongoing bipartisan negotiations to try to deal with this issue in the United States Senate, but no doubt about it, a sign of the growing angst and pressure from the rank and file, particularly swing district members, at this key moment for the Speaker ahead of the midterms next year.
All right, Manu Raju up on Capitol Hill. Thank you very much for that update. Got to ask you a quick question about the breaking news we're following. At least 4 Republicans, your colleagues, just broke ranks to sign House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries' so-called discharge petition, forcing an actual vote on the House floor on an extension of the Affordable Care Act subsidies.
Well, we'll have to wait until mid-January for the payoff on this one. Mike Johnson, presumably anticipating the betrayal, talked a little bit before the vote. I'm kind of curious what he says here.
Joining us right now is House Speaker Mike Johnson. And Speaker Johnson, thank you for being with us today. People had been...
Only 4? Only 4 were needed. Again, it's like the Epstein file discharge petition. Only the minimum number of Republicans want to stick their neck out for that. But once it's actually going to the floor, more Republicans who see the writing on the wall are going to be willing to sign on to it.
Waiting to see what you would do, and you decided to go with the more conservative part of your party, to the consternation of some moderates, including Mike Lawler. What happened? What made you decide to go this way, and what do you do with the moderates who are unhappy with this decision?
Well, it wasn't the Speaker's decision. It was consensus of the body. We have 220 Republicans here and lots of different opinions, lots of different dynamics in their districts across the country. This extending of the COVID-era enhanced subsidy, the premium tax credit, has been a big issue around here of debate for months now. We knew that we were coming to the end of the year when it would expire. And remember, the Democrats created this COVID-era subsidy. They are the ones that put the expiration date on it. And now they're turning to Republicans as if we should save that in some way. We couldn't find consensus on it with the body in order to pass it. Here's the reason. Everybody needs to understand there's a false narrative out there about these subsidies. It's subsidizing insurance companies. And when you do that, you're masking the cost, the rising cost of healthcare, and you're right.
That's I mean, again, that's true, but the alternative is just infinitely unaffordable healthcare. So I don't know. What are you going to do? Again, it is fucked up, though, how the Republicans will... I mean, Lizzie, sorry, fucking sports in 15, you know, Republicans lie all the time. But the idea that they fucking care at all that a government policy is just a subsidy for corporations, you know, like that's such a consistent Republican position, you know. Oh, they hate it when the government siphons money directly into corporations. Well, what's your solution to skyrocketing healthcare prices? Well, in addition to guaranteeing that you're all going to fucking starve and die broke, you know, what if we just gave you a coupon that you can just hand right over to the fucking insurance company, you know?
Making the premiums rise even further. But here's the false narrative. The Democrats are pretending as though this affects everybody in the country. It affects 7% of Americans, this extended subsidy, and
23 million people. 23 million people, or like, I don't know, 3 times the population of Israel, to put it in terms he'd be familiar with.
Of those, even if it was extended without any reforms at all, it would only reduce that small group of Americans' premiums by 5.7%. The Democrats have tried to pretend as though this is all about
Americans. No, I understand that this is not for everybody, but it's 22 to 24 million Americans, and there are some Republicans whose districts are going to face some real trouble and some real issues with this. We've talked to some of them. I understand that Mike Lawler from New York was particularly upset yesterday, that he was kind of furious about it, said it's idiotic, it's political malpractice. That's what he told Axios on some of this. They said they could hear him yelling from outside the room yesterday where all of you were meeting.
Well, no. I was in that room with him, and Mike Lawler's one of my close friends. In fact, I was with him in his district in New York City just 2 weeks ago, campaigning for a couple of days, raising him money and helping him get reelected. He's an essential member of our conference and a really smart guy. And what he was arguing for is this
7% of Americans. But here's the point. What we're going to do today is the first of multiple steps to help not just 7% of Americans, but 100% of Americans reduce their premiums, actually reduce their premiums, not subsidize insurance companies to raise the premiums, but reduce them. And the first of those votes is today. This is the Lower Premiums for All Americans Act we're going to have on the floor. And it's going to actually achieve, if it's signed into law, exactly what we're saying. It has many components. Among them are the cost sharing reduction programs, which will reduce all premiums across the board by at least 11%. And by the way, save taxpayers tens of billions of dollars. We have
I don't know what to say. It won't. It just won't. He's just lying. It's obviously not. If the Republicans had the ability or interest in reducing the cost of healthcare premiums, they would have proposed anything, that could do that at any point within the past decade, and they have not.
The Health Association health plans that will be a part of this today, which will give more flexibility and to small businesses and others and insureds in the marketplace. You've got PBM transparency as a part of this, and the choice accounts. So there'll be a lot more flexibility in the system. Consumers will be able to have more choices, and their cost will go down. We'll also increase access to care through these reforms. And again, this is just the first of many. We're going to do more of this in the first quarter of next year.
We just haven't done it yet, because it wasn't a priority. We were much more interested in doing, what exactly has Congress done so far in 2025? Republicans have had 15 years to come up with this plan. They don't, I don't know. I don't think this rhetoric is working on anyone anymore, Mike Johnson has been really good at rubber stamping Congress for the Trump administration, but I don't know how effective of a communicator he is to the general electorate, Like, how well does this land with the average independent or Republican voter? I feel like stuff like this doesn't work if you personally are suffering. He's not even that good at righteous indignation, to be honest.
Republicans are the ones who will fix health care. It is the Democrats who broke it. Remember, when they passed Obamacare, the Unaffordable Care Act, it was 15 years ago now, they promised us that it would enhance care and that premiums would go down for everyone.
By the way, the 7% thing is bullshit because if insurance companies don't get money from ACA, they're going to pass that on to everyone. Yeah, they already have. Insurance costs, the premium costs are rising even for people who do not get their health care directly from the ACA market, Yeah, it's already happening.
And you'd have more choices. None of that was true. So we have to fix it.
Republicans
are the ones with the ideas to do it.
I hear your point that these subsidies would only help a portion of the people who are dealing with much higher premiums with health care. That's certainly fair. But to be trying to change the health care system at a point where the subsidies are going to go away and raise insurance for 22 to 24 million Americans, premiums starting in a couple of weeks. The moderates on both the Republicans and the Democrats have said, okay, we don't want to necessarily go along with extending those for 3 years as the plan laid out by Hakeem Jeffries. But why not do a 1 to 2 year extension while you're trying to make some of the changes that you're talking about? Because these changes are coming so late, because they're not things that are going to bring down premiums tomorrow, why not extend some of those and try and find some way to blend these two sides to say, okay, we're going to try and change the healthcare system and bring down premiums for all. It's not going to happen overnight. So in the meantime, we will extend these subsidies.
Well, a couple of important points. First of all, the subsidies are not going away. And again, this is an enhanced subsidy on top of the subsidy that everyone already has. And again, even if it had been extended for 3 years, as Hakeem Jeffries proposed, with no reforms, they would these same people who are achieving that and having that enhanced subsidy would only get 5.7% of savings. The point is, everyone's premiums are going up because the Democrats broke the system. The very people who are trying to continue to subsidize it and put more taxpayer dollars on a broken system are the ones that created the mess. We are coming into the middle of that to reform the system, to look at the root causes, the root problems of why everyone's premiums are going up.
It has been over a decade, and they still have not proposed any healthcare plan, man. Since before Trump. I mean, even back when Obama actually passed the Affordable Care Act, ever since then, Republicans have wanted to destroy it. It's been, we're talking like over 15 years at this point, and they have never had any plan for replacing it. They have never had a plan for replacing it. They have never, ever, ever.
The key phrase that you just said is, if we can get it passed. I mean, how does that help a family who is staring down premiums that are going to jump come January? I mean, open enrollment's going to end in January. What are they supposed to do?
I'm going to do everything I can. I've had a bill. August Pfluger in the House, who runs the Republican Study Committee there, he sponsors it also. So we're going to continue to work on it. But look, this wasn't caused by Republicans. Obamacare was created, and it was a complete lie. Remember, Obama said you wouldn't lose your doc. You did. You wouldn't lose your plan. You did. You're going to save $2,500 a family. The opposite happened.
But what do you say to people who say Republicans have had 15 years to change that, and they haven't done so?
Well, I mean, the Democrats in the last 4 years, I mean, they're the ones who created these subsidies. Instead of fixing it, they created these extra subsidies to mask the cost. Why didn't they fix it? I mean, if you look...
They're the ones who put forward the plan. They're fine with the ACA. If you're the one who says the ACA is bad, why wouldn't you have a better option lined up? Why didn't they fix it? Because they did with the ACA. That was their plan. Well, originally it was a Republican plan, but, Man, what's that meme? Republican Party? Oh, yeah. Many people think the Republican Party is a political party. In reality, it's actually a anti-American terrorist group. Dead set on destroying this country and everything it stands for. I wish they could be tried for this, It's fucking, it's crazy. They're so contemptuous of all life. They have no plan. They don't even have, they're so lazy with it too. They don't even have some streamlined pro-corporate plan to keep everyone on the margins when they take over. They just want to break it. They have no plan other than to break it. Funnily enough, I mean, the architect of that plan, McConnell, is now not held in high graces with the Republicans because they keep ditching their talent. Not that Democrats can do that much about this anyway. I mean, they would never even acknowledge who the antagonist is. Keep in mind, Rick Scott's company that he headed at the time committed over $1 billion in fraud. Yes, it was like the biggest fraud case in history, and it was of Medicaid. Yeah. Evil, evil people. They're all terrorists, and they should all be charged as such. High treason. And they let him be in Congress? Yeah, and the Democrats do as well. Like the Democrats just as to the Democrats, once a person makes it into office, they're untouchable, I mean, well before that too, but the fact that they allow any of the they don't just call every Republican like a pedophile. You could probably just refer to every Republican in the House and Senate and in the White House by the sex crime or graft that they were known for before they got elected as a Republican. You would not, you don't need to call these people by their names. You certainly can't work with them. All right. The Epstein files are coming out in 2 days. However censored they are, or, whatever redactions they've been subjected to, and we have every reason to believe they have been subjected to substantial redactions, they are coming out. Funnily enough, FBI Deputy Director Dan Bongino has said that he is going to be resigning. Very coincidental timing right here. Redacting every mention of himself. For Trump, yeah, I mean, that's the assumption, right? Do you think they'll be redacted enough for people to keep talking about them? I do not think there is anything that can come out that would not lead to further conversation. If it's not redacted at all, there's a lot of stuff in there. If it's very redacted, then there's a lot of stuff to talk about, you know, accusations or whatever else. Anyway, he's not actually leaving for a while, but I do think it's funny that he's announcing his resignation. Again, deputy director of the FBI, you know, he's not like a nobody. I know that he hasn't really done anything in office, but it's a pretty big deal. Speaking of stuff to celebrate the release of the Epstein files, Mike Johnson is shutting down the House floor on that day. Everyone gets to, you know, go home early on Thursday, 2 p.m. on Thursday. So I mean, you can say it's a coincidence if you want, but like after a month of holding the House closed, so you don't have to vote on the Epstein bill, and then the day the Epstein files get released, you close the House down again. Incredibly funny. Well, it only makes them look more guilty. Yeah, it just makes me wonder, because like it's such an obvious play, you know? I know Republican voters are stupid, so it's possible they think they can just get away with it, that it doesn't make them look guilty to the people they need to appear not guilty to. But like, look, Mike Johnson would not do this unless Trump asked him to. That's all Mike Johnson does. All Mike Johnson does, he's a direct funnel for the interest of the White House. No independence there whatsoever. It's different in the Senate. Thune is a little bit more, I don't know, he's got a little bit more autonomy, so the Senate's not shutting down, or at least I'm not aware of the fact that it's shutting down. The only thing that I can assume, the only like assumption that I can make of this is that Mike Johnson is worried about, you know, the files getting released and every Democrat taking to the floor to talk about them and it getting a bunch of publicity. I don't know. I mean, it's not like they're shutting down the release of the files. The House isn't the institution releasing the files. The DOJ is. That being said, if the DOJ ends up releasing stuff that is so censored that it, you know, draws suspicion, the House is where Representative Ro Khanna would take to the floor to talk about how the DOJ and FBI have censored the files to protect Trump. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's it. Not to be too cynical, but part of me thinks that most general people who don't follow politics won't care unless the files explicitly say Trump's a pedo. Look, Trump's super unpopular right now, okay? What's his approval rating down to at this point? 36? 35%? He's the most unpopular president in modern history. We don't have any ratings that go down this far, you know, other than him. 31? It can't be 31. 31's too low. There's no way. Trump approval. Let's see. And Reuters Ipsos poll says 39-59 on approval of the handling of his presidency. 33% approve. Nobody likes his handling of the economy. This says 39, but I have seen lower. So I don't know. High 30s? NPR says that his economic approval has hit a new low at 36%. That's incredibly low. I figure 33 is his floor. 33 would be basically every Democrat and independent and a good number of Republicans being anti-Trump, you know? That would be pretty significant. Even getting him down this low is incredible. Worth noting that apart from general approval, if you look at specific handling of issues approval, he's even further underwater. Like, tons of Republicans won't say they disapprove of Trump, but they will say, but I dislike every single thing that he's done. It's not that I dislike Trump, I love Trump, MAGA, but yeah, like he has mishandled the economy and the tariffs and the immigration and everything else, you know? Many such cases. Will this lead to anything or just grind things to a halt? I mean, it means that Trump's effectively incapable of expanding his base or, you know, building any kind of political momentum. They're throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks, you know? Embargoing Venezuela, war for oil, whatever, infinite deportation. Who cares? You know, try everything. But nothing's bumping this number up. I mean, not significantly, at least. Is there any reason why no one in the media is calling this a recession? Because recession has a technical definition. It means that you have, what is it? It's 2 quarters in a row where you have negative GDP growth. Technically, our GDP is growing, albeit marginally. The thing is, the GDP is only growing in, you know, the AI sector, basically. Like, there's a collection of tech companies that represent all economic growth, basically, and we're in a recession for the rest of the economy. But technically, it's not a recession. He's at 31% on affordability. That's fucking rough. 31%? Worse than a 2-to-1? That's pretty bad. We're seeing marginal gains, the likes of which have never been seen before. Where was that thing I just saw before I flipped the screen over? Oh, don't you hide it from me. There we go. His approval rating among white college-educated men has dropped to 40% from 47% in June. Just June. Not even like last year. Just June. Whew. Well, anyway, yeah. Point I'm getting at here is that it certainly seems like they're spooked by the release of the Epstein files. So, you know, keep an eye on that. I don't know whether the release of the Epstein files is going to lead to anything transformative, because anyone sensible already knows the president's a pedophile, a criminal in a wide variety of ways. I don't know if you guys remember this. He attempted a dang insurrection, you know, against the United States government. That was pretty bad. So what will it lead to, like, in a litigative sense? Probably nothing at all. But it gives us something to talk about. I don't know. What would you, if you're living in the downfall of Western civilization, would you rather have nothing to talk about or something to talk about? What would you rather have? A fascist, grifter, you know, kleptocrat president who isn't a pedophile? I don't know what you people want. You people sound crazy right now. Bread and circuses, please. Now do bread. I don't know how to make a bread noise with my mouth. It's kind of like you're biting into bread a little bit. You know? Speaking of which, Jack Smith testified about that today. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I don't give a shit. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck. Jack Smith is saying that they finally have solid, super duper ultra proof that Trump did something bad. I think it's about the insurrection, right? It's about J6. Yeah, no fucking shit. The time to do something with that was 4 years ago. I don't care, you know? It's not like they're going to, you know, arrest and perp walk him over it. So what are you looking for? If anything, it comes across as really cynical. It's like, you know, oh, now finally we can hold Trump legally accountable for an insurrection attempt. His popularity has slipped. What are you talking about? It was illegal before, too. That bread sound effect went over big here. Good stuff. Nice. Very happy to hear that it had an audience.
Former Justice Department Special Counsel Jack Smith is sitting for a closed-door deposition with House Republicans this hour. House Judiciary Committee members digging into his investigations into President Trump. Smith arrived on Capitol Hill moments ago, as you see here, and this deposition is part of an ongoing investigation into criminal inquiries of President Trump during the Biden administration. Smith, as you'll remember...
What's the point? You had a chance here under Biden with Merrick Garland. What are you going to do? Wait for for Trump to leave office and then prosecute a 83-year-old senile man. Trump was like the least responsible person for J6. He's a fucking idiot. It was everyone around him who facilitated it, who made it possible. Those are the people who you should go after. But you know what? It's like some victory lap, some pathetic, you know, like spiking of the ball after the game's already done.
Led the investigations into Mr. Trump's efforts to overturn his 2020 presidential election and the classified documents at his Mar-a-Lago estate in Palm Beach, Florida. CBS News Department of Justice reporter Jake Rosen joins us now from our D.C. bureau with more on this. Really fascinating, Jake, to know this is happening behind closed doors with lawmakers right now. What questions do we expect Jack Smith to answer, considering all of his cases were moot since Mr. Trump became president once again?
Well, Smith's representatives and legal team have said that he's open to answering any questions that these House Republicans have. They actually offered earlier this year, Errol, to go in front of both the House and Senate publicly for everyone in America to see the person who brought these high-profile charges, as you noted, have since been dismissed, but at least be held accountable in the public eye and to defend his work. There have been so many misconceptions and, frankly, Errol, attempts to
Article on the deposition itself. No, I skimmed it before stream. It's just like, look at this. He maintained the team found evidence to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Trump engaged in a criminal scheme to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election and prevent the lawful transfer of power. Wow. Great stuff. Really, like, groundbreaking stuff. Yeah, fuck this. Fuck this when we got so much to talk about. How late do you think Trump's going to be tonight? Probably not too late. I mean, don't want to cut into his bedtime, right? Hold on. Good news, Congressman can actually do checks and balances. You have to tell me what the link actually is. Tell me what the link actually is. Please. I'm trying to find. Here we go. There's a whole other world out there. Candace Owens. You heard of her? Candace Owens recently had a massive live stream. Very, very high viewership, like hundreds of thousands of people watching. And the reason it was so high, well, she's very popular in general, but the reason it was specifically high that time was because the live stream was after she had spoken to Erica Kirk. Because Erica Kirk, at the failing news channel CBS's awful town hall that Barry Weiss promoted the hell out of, which got horrible ratings, Erica Kirk said, you know, multiple times, as she's been consistently saying, you know, Candace Owens, stop telling conspiracy theories about Charlie Kirk. In reality, we are all Charlie Kirk, and all of us are pro-Israel. Charlie Kirk loved Israel, Shabbat Shalom, I love Israel, we're all loyal to Israel, etc., you know. Candace Owens met with Erica Kirk, and
they were sort of most upset with what obviously a bit of a fever pitch, when I tweeted that it was a God-forsaken company and people should not give money to it. And I have to own that. That's aggressive. That is actually aggressive in the retrospect. I was very frustrated. And I don't know, I felt like we weren't getting any answers and there were so many lies. And then I was getting attacked for asking all meaningful questions that was within their capacity to answer. And I told you, I definitely, my problem in life is that I can rise to anger very quickly. I shared with them that I really felt like I was under attack for telling the truth from the very beginning, like casually when I mentioned the Catholicism thing. Like, what was that about? I was like, look, I say something in a tribute to him. Alex Clark and Andrew Colvett then jump onto a podcast and they're doing that weird interview, which is clearly...
In so many words, she actually capitulated. Erica Kirk had a conversation with her, and Candace Owens, who has, again, like breathlessly held the attention of all of the mentally ill conspiracy theorists in the United States with stories about how essentially Israel killed Charlie Kirk because Charlie Kirk was on the cusp of breaking with the MAGA line and opposing Zionist control over the USA. Sorry, I shouldn't say Zionist control. We all know perfectly well when Candace Owens says Zionist what she means. She means Jewish. It was a Jewish doctor. Thank you. But she completely backed off. And it's really, really, really fucking funny because in the live stream, look at this live stream, okay? Fucking 3.8 million views here. Huge. This is a live stream VOD. I mean, good Lord. Look at those dislikes. I think I just realized we, the people, will never be allowed to know. Transparency is never found in private meetings. That's where the deals are made. My advice is to put the phones down and go outside. These people can't be trusted. Hassan was in the live chat instigating Lamau. I saw the tweet. I saw the tweet. Erica goes around giving interviews to everyone and their mama, but you guys can't have a live interview. It's a big club and we aren't in it. A lot of people are super mad at Candace Owens because the image is that she like bent the knee to the, you know, the establishment, parentheses, 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 echoes. And I mean, she did. That is what happened. Obviously, Candace Owens is and always has been a massive grifter. My guess is that Erica Kirk is basically just, at this point, an envoy for a bunch of corrupt political special interests, right? So obviously Israel. But also probably like a bunch of people tied in with the GOP. I mean, Erica Kirk has a bunch of ties, obviously. She was Kirk's wife and is also now with TPUSA. She had a conversation with Candace Owens, and she essentially said, like, don't rock the boat too much. You know, like, come on. You know, don't... The degree to which you are going after me could end up bearing negatively on your career in the long run. Like right now you're riding the high with the conspiracy posting, but Charlie Kirk only gets assassinated once, okay? Eventually this high is going to fall off and you are going to need friends and you are going to lose those friends now if you don't stop pestering me. Now they both just talked about Charlie Kirk dick game for an hour. That is also very possible. That's also very possible. I gotta say, though, this guy's really cooking. Erica goes around giving interviews to everyone and their mama, but you guys can't have a live interview. That's a really good point. Erica is shameless and will not leave the camera. She loves the spotlight. She has been doing this media tour for months now. And for Candace Owens, a live streamer, you know, this was the one, this you couldn't get a live interview for? That's interesting. That's curious. That makes me wonder. Candace was already kicked out of TPUSA. No, she wasn't. Was she? She was kicked out of the Daily Wire. She had a falling out with Ben Shapiro, who's Jewish. Not TPUSA. Charlie Kirk is, well, I should say was an anti-Semite as well. He just played it in a little bit, for the sake of the optics. I don't know if she's like an actual anti-Semite or just grifting on that too, but, past the point, it doesn't really make a difference, Private meetings are for one thing and one thing only, secrets. Adding the wedding photo of you and Erica like you're suddenly united is an interesting move. I'm unfollowing, done with the antics. Private meeting and now our only source is silence. This makes no sense. Meeting privately was a serious mistake in judgment. People know something's off and we're not here for it. Crawling back into my cave, thought we almost had a real one. It's really, 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 really funny. You can't hold on to a conspiracy audience forever, It's just not possible.
Okay, everybody, Shabbat Shalom. I just want to say Shabbat Shalom to everybody back at home. Happy Hanukkah to our greatest friends and allies. And, you know, this is a good time to mention that Israel does have a right to defend itself. Tucker Carlson is Adolf Hitler. And TikTok does need to be purchased by the Mossad. It's just how I'm feeling today. I am not different.
Really, like, preemptively compensating for what happens later on in the show. You know? Wow, that's absolutely crazy. 3.8 million views, in case you were wondering. She's maybe the most popular right-wing commentator right now. This is what people are listening to.
And maybe you are different. Welcome back to Candace. The Jews, obviously.
God almighty.
Just kidding. Justin Strife. Justin Strife was in the room. It was just Justin Strife and Erica. George joined me just for the beginning portion of the conversation because he had that thing going on that I told you on the 15th all day. He was in a conference. And then I brought my cousin Mia, you know, the one that has a really bad attitude. I just bring her there for vibes. I think it just confuses people. They're like, I don't understand what's this person doing here. And the reality is she's like always just listening to Cardi B music. But she's my cousin and I always have her around. And so that was it. She was kind of sitting a little bit away, but at the table it was just,
yeah,
it was
that,
really
that
just
searching the
four of us
transcript stuff doesn't
until
work
George
that well,
left. And
unfortunately.
I will be honest, I did not know what to expect going into the room. I did not know if they were going to be open. I didn't know what Erica's energy was going to be like, if it was going to be more of an argument, if there was going to be legal threats. You guys were telling me not to drink water, so I didn't drink water. Well, I brought my own water, but I didn't drink that water too. It was a lot. There's a lot going on. Okay. And
I might need to watch some Candace Owens in my off time so that I can get it's like getting a fecal transplant where your weakened gut bacteria gets supplemented with the biome of a stronger gut bacteria. You know, I need to like reacquaint myself with conspiracism because I'm off on it now. You know, my memory of what conspiracy theorists sound like is like listening to Alex Jones 4 years ago. This is the new wave.
Conversation started with Justin Strife very sensibly saying, what are we looking to accomplish here? Like, what is
It's boring. I watched the whole stream yesterday and she doesn't say anything the entire time. I mean, that's probably why she opened so strong, right? Like dog whistle, dog whistle, dog whistle, dog whistle, dog whistle, because the substance of this, like she can't say I have been bought out or I am compromised or whatever. Well, it would be a lie. It'd be a lie by omission as well. She's always been compromised. Like you can't be compromised to Israel when your previous agenda was being already a grifter. Like you're just beholden to whatever suits your interests. That hasn't changed. 12:30, she starts talking about the magic bullet conspiracy and apologizing for it. Man, I do hate conspiracy theories. I really truly do. They're like just poison for the brain. They turn people into fucking retards. Do you think Fuentes' anti-Semitism bit is genuine? I don't know. It's kind of meaningless, to be honest, right? Like they say stupid shit they don't actually believe in, but if it was expedient to pretend to believe in it, they would. And I don't care that much about the difference between a person pretending to believe in it and believing in it. Or at least there's not much of a practical difference. I guess the most important thing to keep in mind is that at the very least, truth for these guys does not mean what it does to us, right? They play it fast and loose.
I still don't understand it. And the magic bullet.
I'm confused. Why couldn't she drink the water? Her fans were probably concerned that she would accidentally drink Jew water, which might corrode her faculties.
Okay. Now, we all recall what happened. I casually say on the show, hey, I saw the footage. There was no blood. And honestly, when I said it, I didn't process how big of a deal that was with the 30-06.
What? Was that a conspiracy that there was no blood when Charlie got shot? Because I saw the video and there was so much blood, like immediately. What?
Very quickly, what happens is Andrew Colvett whips up this tweet about what happened with the bullet, and he said he had...
I think the conspiracy was a 30-06 would do way more damage. No? it did a lot. It killed him. Like, there's also a fake blood pouch conspiracy. This shit is like a Chinese finger trap designed to occupy the attention of low IQ people who think they're high IQ. You know? There's something wrong with the system. No, it's not corporate corruption. No, it's not regulatory capture. No, it's not our broken tax system. No, it's not all the obvious, straightforwardly broken shit happening day to day in our society. It's the fake blood pack and squibs and the 306 bullet mark not being big enough and the fucking, like, it's like the 9/11 conspiracy theories. The conspiracy around 9/11 isn't that there were bombs planted in the towers. The conspiracy is that Bush lied to America and the UN afterwards to legitimize a war that he wanted to start anyway.
He wanted to address all of the discussion that was being had about the online chatter. I'm obviously paraphrasing here. He says, I apologize, it's going to get graphic, but he spoke with the surgeon. The bullet should have gone through. The surgeon then explained that what he's typically seen on these wounds, and basically this was all a miracle. Charlie saved lives, even in death. And the internet clocked it. This miracle.
It wasn't a miracle. This was just a tweet. This was just a tweet from a retard with a blue check looking to get some extra money at the end of the month to pay rent. That was it.
The healthy bone, his bone was so healthy and the density was so impressive. Like, this is a quote, by the way. His bone was so healthy. I want to read it. This is allegedly from a surgeon. Quote, his bone was so healthy.
Allegedly from a surgeon. So this is like the caliber of the conspiracy theories that are being peddled about on the Candace Owens show. They're like, we found this tweet. The tweet is ostensibly by a surgeon. This viral conservative blue check tweet. We're now going to take it seriously and act as though this is some kind of like professional cover-up.
And the density was so impressive that he's like the man of steel. It should have gone through and through. It likely would have killed those standing behind him too. And we were just like, eek. That kind of was like the beginning of the WTF, right? I feel like that was kind of the beginning of it. And
I didn't think it was a conspiracy, but then I saw a tweet from a blue check attention rage bait farmer. And then I thought there was a conspiracy. Listen, I could believe that a random guy would murk Charlie Kirk, you know? What I couldn't believe is that there would be blue checks on Twitter farming attention over it after. That's unbelievable to me. There must be something deeper at hand here.
Immediately, people in the comments responded to Andrew, and he
Sorry,
said,
I didn't mean to turn this into like making fun of Like, obviously, if you watch her or find any of this convincing, I don't regard you as my peer intellectually. You know, so the broader point, yeah, different species of person, truly. I no respect for them at all. Like, literally, I don't think you should be able to vote. And I'm being serious. If there was some way on a policy level to take these people and disenfranchise them completely, I would actually support it. Like, unironically, I would. I wouldn't care how undemocratic it is. I think that it's essentially necessary for the survival of the human race and for civilization, for just like this group to not be able to vote. Literacy tests? I mean, you posit it tentatively, but it should be known I am unironically in favor of literacy tests because it would disenfranchise conservatives' majority. I will support basically any electoral measure that wrests free the torch of human civilization from those animals, you know? I feel like listen, it's purely a survival thing at this point. I would love to live in a world where we could, where we could all, pitch in with our ideas. But unfortunately, we all have to come to the table with an open mind and a pure heart, speaking in good faith. And a lot of you motherfuckers are not doing that. So we need to, some of you ruined it. Somebody pissed in the pool. Okay. Anyway. The point I'm getting at here is that, Candace Owens has had an arc dramatically cut tragically short by Erica Kirk (Mossad). Norman Finkelstein. That might actually be funny. That might be interesting. Milo. She has been popping off lately. Still on it, though. Breaking news, we received photos of Charlie's car after the assassination. What? Candace, did you ask Erica why she canceled the Doge investigation that Charlie initiated before his death? What? I don't know. So what is she going to do now? Is she laying off Erica Kirk specifically, or is she going to like dial down the anti-Semitism with regard to Charlie Kirk, you know? Do you think Charlie would be proud of Candace doing this insane level of grifting? I mean, they were literally friends before he died. And Charlie did the same thing, you know? Charlie just appealed to a different audience. It's all Charlie, dude. It's all Charlie. Like, every stream. That's crazy. What different audience? Charlie Kirk kind of stamped down on the anti-Semitism, neo-Nazi stuff because he was already polarized against the Groypers. He was trying to lead like a younger wing of what would otherwise be mainstream Republicanism, which the younger wing of mainstream Republicanism is and always has been pretty Hitlerite, you know? Candace Owens actually has more independence. Like, Candace Owens has more of a, like, neo-Nazi to Joe Rogan viewer kind of base, right? The Joe Rogan audience wouldn't really like, you know, Charlie Kirk, because Charlie Kirk is too policy oriented, you know? Charlie Kirk is too, like, suit and tie conservative for those guys. But they love this shit because it's mostly about woo and conspiracy, you know? It's more normie coded. A little bit concerning that neo-Nazi rhetoric, it regularly hits like millions of views per live stream, you know, in the VODs. But you know, sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles, you know? Sometimes that just is how it is. As I said, right now, the 2028 election is shaping up to be, you know, Gavin Newsom or Kamala Harris or some other Israel-worshipping centrist Democrat versus a 35-year-old millennial neo-Nazi Republican who despises Israel and wins most of the youth vote. So that's what we're up against right now, okay? It's the Democrats, but you can never criticize Israel, or a Republican neo-Nazi. You can say whatever the fuck you want about Israel. That's what it's lining up to be. I'm willing to permit a pretty wide range of conspiracy posting about Israel because, in fairness, there are like a million real conspiracies where Israel does influence American, you know, political outcomes, where they do meet and work with American politicians, American business, corporate interests, whatever else, in large part because they're just an extension of those interests. And then there are a bunch of like actual conspiracy theories from Israel, like false flags that have been done by Mossad that, you know, you can look back on. It's like, wow, Israel's just been like this for decades. Like, they've been really openly antagonistic towards the West for a long time, and it just keeps nothing's done about it. It's pretty crazy. Basically, what I'm saying is, if something bad happens to you, you can blame Israel. That's fine. Will you watch the Trump message in 15 minutes? No, I put it first in my title and also scheduled my stream to coincide with the speech for memes. I have no intention of covering it. It was all a lie. You've been baited. You fool. I probably should watch more Candace Owens stuff, you know? It's just, there's so much, like the right, the neocon right, even the MAGA right has completely imploded. It really is just like Nazism left, you know? Have you guys seen this motherfucker? I saw a clip of him the other day. It was the funniest thing I had ever seen in my life. The short stack over here. No. I saw 2 clips of this guy, okay? One of them was he was at some far-right political event or whatever, and he got slapped upside the face by this big fat guy, but it turns out they were both Nazis. This guy had a swastika armband, and he was, you know, doing his bit, and then this fat other Nazi came up and slapped him, and apparently it was because the fat Nazi thought that the short, skinny Nazi was making fun of Nazis by wearing the Nazi armband. Someone have that clip? That was like a leftism level of infighting there, you know? And then I saw another clip of him where he was giving masculinity advice, and he had like the pipe, you know, like as a prop, but he was taking hits off of it like a fucking vape. Like he didn't know how to use a pipe. He just had one. So he was he was taking like vape hits off of it. Wait, that's the same guy. Yeah, no, it's the same guy. It's the same guy. Is this white-on-white violence? We're talking about neo-Nazis. Statistically speaking, the likelihood of 2 white neo-Nazis ever meeting is pretty low, you know? One of them's going to be Mexican, Filipino, something. This? Yeah. Wait, is it this one?
You invited him to your fucking club. You gave him a ticket to the fucking club.
Okay, I think earlier he had the armband. I think he put a jacket on to hide it or something. Maybe I'm misremembering. Anyway, later they hugged it out.
Okay, let's get the fuck out of here.
Walked off. Almost slapped the damn mustache off. It was a pretty weighty slap, yeah, for sure. Anyway, what is this bit? I think I saw like 10 seconds of this.
The young white man, you are truly alone. All the young white guys need to team up because it is us against the world. Everyone hates us. You guys need to wake up to that fact. We need to become racist and we need to take charge.
And by the way, don't buy into this propaganda that all white girls are just whores. Let's go to fucking Colombia and get a cheap hooker.
Yeah.
This passport bullshit, that's Jewish as fuck. That's a Jewish psyop to make you have mongrel babies.
If you're non-white, if I was non-white and I wasn't in this...
I know the community discourse in this environment goes fucking crazy. I was always saying that. Go to get a prostitute in Colombia. Now I'm a little embarrassed to find out that it's Jewish. I didn't realize. Have I engaged? Is that cultural appropriation? Do I need to like apologize to the Jewish community? They have to be joking, right? Well, the comedy here is the idea that this is a prominent enough sentiment in the base there, right? Like there are these like incel Nazi guys who are like, "There's no hope, brother. Deus vult. Our only hope is to go to Colombia."
Battle like I am. If I was a black dude, I would be a passport bro.
Yeah.
For non-whites, I get it. Because you can go to a third world country and get a much hotter girl. You just can't. As an American with like more money, you can pull something way better in a third world country. But she's gonna be brown. But if you're a black dude or if you're a brown dude, you know, that's fine. Yeah, no, if I was non-white, I think I would be a passport bro. But if you're white, we're gonna have to wife up these hoes. You're gonna have to suck it up and wife up one of these American white girls. And
I don't know, guys. I'm not feeling particularly afraid of the great cultural takeover of American neo-Nazism right now. This shit is fucking ridiculous. This is like a parody. Can I have the link to this? Yeah, sure. It's like a joke. Like if you were doing a skit for the kind of discourse. I like unironically, I think the reason Fuentes has broken out a little bit and people talk about him in the sort of with the broader discourse is because Fuentes is smart and self-aware enough to know that when you become a reflection of the retardation within your community, you are a fucking joke. You know what I'm talking about? Like Fuentes is smart enough to look at his chat and his community and what they talk about and to hate them. Obviously, that's what you have to do. But this guy's just holding a mirror up to it. He's like, let's talk about, you know, how the ethics and logistics of wiping a white hoe up and how to avoid a mongrel baby or whatever the fuck. No, I mean, keep it up. It's great.
But it'll be okay.
Your race matters that much. Like, if your race in 10 generations, your line will have continued, and it won't. Nobody will care.
Is this like a 101 class? Is it like the first time this, like, we're gonna bring this up? We're sitting you down. We're teaching you about the birds and the bees. We're teaching you about the haplogroups. We're teaching you about the Caucasoids and the Mongoloids, and I don't want to say the third one because wokeness is back, so I can't say it, but I could have said it 6 months ago.
That your great-great-grandmother was a hoe because you exist and you're more white people. The white race must be preserved at all causes. And by the way, girls become hoes when they don't have a guy.
SS 101. It sounds so fucking lame when you actually lay it out. You know what I mean? Like, there's a reason why 95% of the time when these guys talk about their agenda, their goals, they're doing it with these big, like, sweeping euphemisms, because when you actually lay it out, it sounds really fucking lame, you know?
Putting them in line. So if like, most girls will take on the mindset of the guy that they're...
The Orange's woman would never go for the am sandwich race. There's so many banger lines. What, you know, the Measure headline that lives most rent-free in my head is the one where he says that what is it? The chimeric race of the like A+ race and the Irish people could never happen because an A-type race could never maintain an erection in the suffocating potato stench of the Najka woman or something like that. However the fuck he said that shit, it was funny as fuck, man. I don't even remember it clearly, but I still, the sentiment right up here.
Dating. So if you're conservative, I'm not saying go out and get some radical, insane
The
liberal.
Semenin Oranjan Gamira. Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's beyond the pale. But most girls will kind of meld into who you are. And if you just put them in their place, it'll be fine. And you got to do it for the race.
You got it. We're gonna.
This is such. Oh fuck. This is. I want to give them advice as a fellow white man or whatever. This is very fake. You're doing paint by numbers right now. You're saying this because you feel like you have to. This isn't real advice. You're going through the motions on this. This isn't like actual. This isn't actual advice on how to avoid race mixing and to wife up a white woman. Come on. Listen, okay, I understand, like, I'm woke, they're not. They can say the N-word. Wokeness prevents me from saying the N-word with the hard R, etc., etc. Yeah. So use that freedom. Like, talk about the issues at hand here. Really talk about white women. You know? Really engage with it. This is slop. This is just this is like the Nazi equivalent of when communists say that after the revolution all problems will be fixed with mutual aid. You're not even talking about the issue. You're just busting out the words, you know.
Race.
Well, and again, and circling back, this is why I disagree with these pastors telling all these young men to wait till they're married, because none of the girls are virgins. Being a virgin man, marrying a
here's the big split with Fuentes, I assume.
Non-virgin woman is a terrible idea. You have no idea what you're getting. She's going to be able to just totally control you. You have no idea what you're getting into.
She's going to be able to do tricks in it. You won't know what the fuck is going on. If you're a virgin and she's fucked even once before, she's going to be spin dancing on it. You're going to, she'll be able to do whatever she wants with you. Your money, your passwords.
So I do not, in America in 2025, I do not recommend waiting till marriage. As a man, if you're a woman, try and stay pure. But as a man, you know, none of the girls in this country are virgins. You're not going to find a virgin wife. So if she's going to be ran through, you need to be ran through as well. Ran through. Men aren't.
That's based. Yeah, that's true.
run through. Men do the running through.
It's a competition. You should be embarrassed. If you date a girl and her body count is higher than yours, that's bad, not because she's a whore, but because you've been slacking. That's my opinion. You should feel mocked. You date a girl in college and she's like, oh yeah, I've been with like 30 or 40 people. And you haven't? You should be thinking like, oh fuck, she's gonna do tricks on it. I'm not gonna survive. You have to make an excuse to leave immediately and find some new people to have sex with, and then you can come back to her.
But yeah, go rack up a body count and then get yourself one of these ran through white women. I'm sorry, we have no choice. This is the situation. And then hopefully our children can grow up in a country that's not totally fucked up.
Okay, wait 1 second.
Are you sure you wish to know of the semen Okoiki Chimera? It is not an aesthetic site. This will never happen. The Simonese and the Koiko may have similar interbreeding problems as the mosquito. We will never know precisely. No Simonese man could maintain an erection in the suffocating potato stench of a Koiko woman, or Koika. Revacholians, halfway between type A and racial.
Finish the clip. Trump's going to be talking soon.
Okay, guys, that's the
like and
episode.
subscribe.
So, if you enjoyed that.
Whoa! Oh, is this like a content house? Are they all together in one building? Please tell me. Is it like a streamer? Is it like a fucking gamer house? Do you have like yeah, the content houses. So do they all like share a kitchen? Probably not. It'd be pretty funny though. That shit's really funny. I'm telling you, there's a reason why the Fuentes clips I mean, don't get me wrong, Fuentes is still a Nazi, so he gets dogged on. But the Fuentes has been getting a lot of begrudging respect for his intelligent decision to correctly regard his own audience with contempt lately. The reason that I keep seeing these clips get like a bunch of negative attention, mostly people making fun of it, it's because this is hyper performative. You have to have more to say on white women than this, okay? I've said, for me personally, and I'm laying it out on the table right now, I'm opening myself up to judgment. For me, it's been about 50-50 white, non-white, you know? I live in America. A lot of the people I've known are white. It's been about 50% white, 50% non-white people I've slept with, okay? So as a consequence of that, in my experiences, I feel like I'm well equipped. I can tell you about white women, okay? We can have a conversation, you know? You could lay in some points, but you have to put in the effort. How come wokeness won't allow you to say certain words in context but not retard? I don't know. I say retard in my career, like my channel stays, but there are other words where if I said it, my channel doesn't stay. What do you want from me? Bring it up with the Council of Black People. But you're asking me. I'm just the player. I didn't write the code of the game. Listen, I don't think you should ever say any mean words because they hurt people's feelings to hear them. Also, I have ADHD, so I'm allowed to say retard. That was super funny. Now that the entire, like every single Republican younger than 50 is either a fan of that guy Fuentes or Candace Owens, we probably should engage with that stuff more often. Can we read the plaques? No, it's about time. I've got the AP stream up. Do 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 do. You know Trump will be late. Okay, well then it'll be his fault, not mine. It's why every fucking group function takes forever when you're out with your friends. Everyone's like, well, everyone else is going to end up being late, so I can be late. And then everyone ends up compounding the lateness and making everyone else around them more late because everyone accepts the fact that they were already going to be late. You have to plant your feet in the ground. You have to be the one to say, no, I will be there on time. I will not be the problem. Says the guy late to every stream. Yeah, well, that's because I don't respect you guys. Do you think Carlson's info is correct and that he's waging war with Venezuela? What do you mean, Carlson? Tucker Carlson? I don't in the morning when I check the news, I don't go to Tucker Carlson's X the Everything app account. So I don't really know what information he's working with. In Sweden, we have an academic 15-minute rule. Do you not have it in the US? I think we pretend that we do. Co-worker in the Navy Reserve is getting mobilized. Okay. Oh, potato lover. You're the person that the Seminese man could not maintain an erection in the presence of. Whoop!
Good evening, America. 11 months ago, I inherited a mess, and I'm fixing it. When I took office, inflation was the worst in 48 years, and some would say in the history of our country, which caused prices to be higher than ever before, making life unaffordable for millions and millions of Americans.
Billions and billions.
This happened during a Democrat administration, and it's when we first began hearing the word affordability. Our border was open, and because of this, our country was being invaded by an army of 25 million people, many who came from prisons and jails, mental institutions, and insane asylums. They were drug dealers, gang members, and even 11,888 murderers, more than 50% of whom killed more than one person. This is what the Biden administration allowed to happen to our country, and it can never be allowed to happen again. We had men playing in women's sports, transgender for everybody.
All the hits
crime at
in here
record
today.
levels with law enforcement, and words such as that just absolutely forbidden. We had the worst trade deals ever made, and our country was laughed at from all over the world. But they're not laughing anymore. Over the past 11 months, we have brought more positive change to Washington than any administration in American history. There's never been anything like it, and I think
Look, are we declaring war on Venezuela, or is this just a cope
in
speech?
a landslide, winning the popular vote and all 7 swing states and everything else, with a mandate to take on a sick and corrupt system that really just took the wealth from people and crushed the dreams of the American people. For the last 4 years, the United States was ruled by politicians who fought only for insiders, illegal aliens, career criminals, corporate lobbyists, prisoners, terrorists, and above all, foreign nations, which took advantage of us at levels never seen before. They flooded your cities and towns with illegal aliens. They decimated your hard-earned savings. They indoctrinated your children with hate for America. They just released a level of violent felons that we had never seen to prey on innocent. They caused war. They caused mayhem. They caused a horrible situation all over the globe. But now you have a president who fights for the law-abiding, hardworking people of our country, the ones who make this nation run, who make this nation work. And after just 1 year, we have achieved more than anyone could have imagined. Starting on day one, I took immediate action to stop the invasion of our southern border. For the past 7 months, 0 illegal aliens have been...
I can pause. I'm legally allowed to pause. I just want to say I was a coin flip on this because it looks like we might be like actually going in for Venezuela. At the same time, reporting from inside the White House, or released word from within the White House, seems to indicate that like the collapsing public opinion of the president is more and more getting to him. Like they're getting more desperate to try anything. Keep in mind the Epstein files are coming out in 2 days as well.
Allowed into our country, a feat which everyone said was absolutely impossible. Do you remember when Joe Biden said that he needed Congress to pass legislation to help close the border? He was always blaming Congress and everyone else. As it turned out, we didn't need legislation. We just needed a new president. We inherited the worst border anywhere in the world, and we quickly turned it into the strongest border in the history of our country. In other words, in a few short months, we went from worst to best. We're deporting criminals, restoring safety to our most dangerous cities. Just take a look at Washington, D.C. It's at levels of safety that we've never seen before. And they decimated the bloodthirsty foreign drug cartels. We did that all by ourselves with our people, and we're so proud of it because they were poisoning and destroying our population. Drugs brought in by ocean and by sea are now down 94%. We have broken the grip of sinister woke radicals in our schools, and control over those schools is back now in the hands of our great and loving states, where education belongs.
What if he just says the N-word? He should.
After rebuilding the United States military in my first term, and with the addition we are adding right now, we have the most powerful military anywhere in the world, and it's not even close. I've restored American strength, settled 8 wars in 10 months, destroyed the Iran nuclear threat, and ended the war in Gaza, bringing for the first time in 3,000 years peace to the Middle East, and secured the release of the hostages, both living and dead. Here at home, we're bringing our economy back from the brink of ruin. The last administration and their allies in Congress looted our treasury for trillions of dollars, driving up prices and everything at levels never seen before. I am bringing those high prices down, and bringing them down very fast. Let's look at the facts. Under the Biden administration, car prices rose 22%, and in many states, 30% or more. Gasoline rose 30 to 50%. Hotel rates rose 37%. Airfares rose 31%.
This is boring. Yeah, no kidding. Seriously. Remember, like, this is just more of the same. He's not saying anything new. Their ability to not get gutted in 2026 comes down to their ability to change messaging. And so far, it genuinely just seems like he's getting like he on a snap demanded this because he thought that another round of the same rhetoric for the 5,000th time was going to make a difference.
Now under our leadership, they are all coming down, and coming down fast. Democrat politicians also sent the cost of groceries soaring, but we are solving that too. The price of a Thanksgiving turkey was down 33% compared to the Biden last year. The price of eggs is down 82% since March, and everything else is falling rapidly. And it's not done yet, but boy, are we making progress. Nobody can believe what's going on. Here are just some of the efforts that we have underway. You will see in your wallets and bank accounts in the new year. After years of record-setting falling incomes, our policies are boosting take-home pay at a historic pace. Under Biden, real wages plummeted by $3,000. Under Trump, the typical factory worker has seen a wage increase of $1,300. For construction workers, it's $1,800. For miners, we're bringing back clean, beautiful coal. It's $3,300. And for the first time in years, wages are rising much faster than inflation. Remember that. The wages, just look at it. Wages are going up much faster than inflation. How big is that? Very importantly, there are more people working today than at any time in American history, and 100% of all jobs created since I took office have been in the private sector. Think of that. 100%
that might actually
of all
be true.
jobs have been in the private sector rather than government, which is the only way to make a country powerful and great. This historic trend will continue. Already, I've secured a record-breaking $18 trillion of investment into the United States, which means jobs, wage increases, growth, factory openings, and far greater national security. Much of this success has been accomplished by tariffs. My favorite word, tariffs, which for many decades have been used successfully by other countries against us, but not anymore. Companies know that if they build in America, there are no tariffs, and that's why they're coming home to the USA in record numbers. They're building factories and plants at levels we haven't seen, AI, automobiles. We're doing what nobody thought was even possible, not even remotely possible. There has never, frankly, been anything like it.
I want you all to know, like, the main thing I'm focusing right now, the main thing I'm mentally scanning for is a single new talking point. Literally, I genuinely can't. You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of whenever there's a big, like, PR fuck up at a company and they ignore the PR advisors, like they ignore their relations team, and the CEO or whoever else is like, no, I'll fix it. I'll immediately go talk to the press, or I'll just like do a big like tweet thread or whatever. You're mad at me? No, I'll just talk you out of it, you know? No actual strategy for how to dig himself out from the fucking hole that he's in. Just again, literally just the same thing. Just the same thing. He'll keep saying this till his dying day. It'll always be the same.
A year ago, our country was dead. We were absolutely dead. Our country was ready to fail, totally failed. Now, we're the hottest country
he sounds
anywhere
angry,
in
doesn't
the
he?
world. And
he's like frustrated that he has to do
every single
this.
leader that I've spoken to over the last 5 months. Next year, you will also see the results of the largest tax cuts in American history that were really accomplished through our great, big, beautiful bill, perhaps the most sweeping legislation ever passed in Congress. We wrapped 12 different bills up into one beautiful bill. That includes no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. Under these cuts, many families will be saving between $11,000 and $20,000 a year, and next spring is projected to be the largest tax refund season of all time. Because of tariffs, along with the just passed One Big Beautiful Bill, tonight I am also proud to announce that more than 1,450,000, think of this, 1,450,000 military service members will receive a special, we call Warrior Dividend before Christmas, a Warrior Dividend. In honor of our nation's founding in 1776, we are sending every soldier $1,776. Think of that. And the checks are already on the way.
That's a fucking red flag, isn't it? Oh, how funny would it be, by the way, and there's a 50-50 on this happening, if it doesn't happen. Like, he rushed this and he wanted to say it, but they just never pull it together.
Nobody understood that one until about 30 minutes ago. We made a lot more money than anybody thought because of tariffs, and the bill helped us along. Nobody deserves it more than our military, and I say congratulations to everybody. And by the way, we now have record enlistment in our military, and last year we had among the worst recruitment numbers in our military's history. What a difference a year makes. In addition, I'm doing what no politician of either party has ever done, standing up to the special interests to dramatically reduce the price of prescription drugs. I negotiated directly with the drug companies and foreign nations, which were taking advantage of our country for many decades, to slash prices on drugs and pharmaceuticals by as much as 400, 500, and even 600%. In other words, your drug costs will be plummeting downward. And I used the threat of tariffs to get foreign countries who would never have done it to pay the cost of this giant dollar reduction. They stopped ripping us off, and it began as of 4 days ago. There has never been anything like this in the history of our country. Drugs have only gone up.
He may legit be worried about getting cooed. He does sound desperate. I don't think he's going to be militarily cooed or whatever, but he, in this speech, does sound desperate. Like, why don't you like me? Why don't you like me? I don't understand. He probably does think all the stuff he's saying is true as well. So he's like genuinely incredulous. He's like, what the fuck? I'm positive that I have brought about a new golden age. Why are my numbers so bad, you know?
Again, I want the money to go directly to the people so you can buy your own health care. You'll get much better health care at a much lower price. The only losers will be insurance companies that have gotten rich and the Democrat Party, which is totally controlled by those same insurance companies. They will not be happy, but that's okay with me because you, the people, are finally going to be getting great health care at a lower cost. Another major focus is the cost of energy. For years, the radical left Democrats exploited the green energy scam as an excuse to funnel many billions of dollars into their own massive slush funds as their energy restrictions drastically drove up prices, and they drove them up at record levels. Electricity costs surged 30 to 100% under Biden, and the typical family lost $5,000 to $10,000 in higher energy costs. Think of that, $5,000 to $10,000.
Legit question, how many people do you think were convinced, oh, shit, maybe it is Republicans' fault, from Trump insisting twice that it wasn't his fault? Look, all I know is that every time Trump has had an actual bump in his popularity, it's been from something that he's done, not from something that he's said, you know? But this pathetic whinging, this like, it wasn't us, it was... Have you ever, in fiction or reality, heard a politician talk like that and for it to go over well? I'm serious. Think of any time. This is like the... If this were written as a show, this would be like the downfall speech. This would be the desperate final weeks before the wall, like the kitten, I think the walls are closing in on daddy speech, you know? Now, obviously in real life, everything's dumb and we don't really have a legal system, so it's not just a couple weeks away from all being over, but he certainly sounds that way.
$1,000 you lost. On day one, I declared a national energy emergency. Gasoline is now under $2.50
it is boring as
a
shit,
gallon
yeah.
in much of the country. I would say by anybody.
It's crazy because like the lesson everyone was talking about at the end of the Biden administration was it doesn't really matter what you're doing. Like you have to make people feel heard in their concerns, you know, like the Biden administration's insistence that everything was going fine when the inflation was actually pretty bad hurt them a lot. So for the Republicans to run with that and then Trump comes over and everything immediately gets much worse and their only way of dealing with it is to say, no, actually everything's perfect. Everything is completely...
Border invasion. We have never been invaded. This is the worst thing that, frankly, in my opinion, the worst thing that the Biden administration did to our country is the invasion at the border. The last administration and their allies in Congress brought in millions and millions of migrants and gave them taxpayer-funded housing.
Bro was on
while
his knees.
your rent and housing
I think one of the most damning, I guess, or one of the most damning indictments of his second administration, he doesn't even say MAGA anymore. Like, seriously, he no longer says, we're going to make America great again, because he's such a narcissist that he has to stand by the position that it's already great. Like, his position is essentially, no, we fixed it. We came in, we did everything great. No one stopped me. I did everything great. I fixed it. What do you mean, make it great? It's great. Fuck you, you know? He doesn't, there is no aspirational vision of the future. No, MAGA is dead. MAGA is 100% dead. The movement is dead. Everyone is like, a bunch of Republicans in Congress are like looking for their out. Rats fleeing a sinking ship. Dan Bongino's on the way out. Epstein files about to be released. Mike Johnson is getting more and more pushback from the people underneath him about the job he's made them have as a rubber stamp for the Trump administration. You know, it's getting to be more and more embarrassing.
Skyrocketed. Over 60% of growth in the rental market came from foreign migrants. At the same time, illegal aliens stole American jobs and flooded emergency rooms, getting free health care and education paid for by you, the American taxpayer. They also increased the cost of law enforcement by numbers so high that they are not even to be mentioned. For the first time in 50 years, we are now seeing reverse migration as migrants go back home, leaving more housing and more jobs for Americans. In the year before my election, all net creation of jobs was going to foreign migrants. Since I took office, 100% of all net job creation has gone to American-born citizens, 100%. In the end, government either serves the productive, patriotic, hardworking American citizen, or it serves those who break the laws, cheat the system, and seek power and profit at the expense of our nation. Look at Minnesota, where Somalians have taken over the economics of the state and have stolen billions and billions of dollars from Minnesota and indeed from the United States of America. And we're going to put an end to it.
Minnesota was promised to them 3,000 years ago. You can't be mad with that.
For so long as before my election, the vast majority of good and decent Americans were forced to watch as corrupt politicians plundered the halls of power, exploited our taxpayers, and pillaged every system that makes civilized society function. But not anymore, and you see that every day, not anymore. We're putting America first, and we are making America great again. Very simple. We are making America great again. Tonight, after
there goes my theory.
11 months, our border is secure. Inflation has stopped. Wages are up. Prices are down. Our nation is strong.
Again, it's the fucking Biden thing, man. Like you can't completely divorce your rhetoric from material reality. Like no matter what, no matter how brainwashed people are, there is still like an actual real world out there that people experience separate from the world you're trying to create with your language, you know? There is no inflation. Prices are down. Meanwhile, you asked Mike Johnson why prices aren't down yet. He's like, well, it's going to take a little while. Even J.D. Vance was saying that. He was like, well, you can't expect us to only get prices down within a year. The rate at which price increases have slowed down, you know? The logarithmic, the exponential growth is slow. The logarithmic growth, well... Miss... Okay, so it really truly was somebody accidentally showed him his polling numbers and he was like, I've got to hold a rally immediately. Sir, you're the president. You can't just do a rally. Okay, then schedule a speech. How this was like really hastily scheduled, wasn't it? When was the first word we heard of this happening? Last night? Yeah, that was it. It's a desperation speech. Why else would it be that hasty? Nothing new was introduced here. It was literally just like off the like right now. I need to talk right now. Sir, we can't do it literally right now. Okay, then tomorrow. We're going to do it tomorrow. Yeah, this is about as close to firing from the hip as you can get as the president. This shit was fucking garbage, man. This was straight doo-doo from a butt. That was pathetic. Normally, when Trump is doing the same speech he always does, which is how he's perfect and everything he's done is perfect and he's fixed everything, he comes across as a lot more gloating or triumphant. You know what I mean? But this one, he just came across as angry and entitled. Like, how dare you dislike me after everything that I've done? How dare you? You know? Super defensive. Super, I don't know, entitled, super desperate. Do you think the 1776 dividend is an incentive to get dumbasses to enlist to prep for Venezuela? Pretty bad incentive, considering the fact that it only goes out to people who are already enlisted. I mean, it's not as though you would get it if you signed up now. Also, who knows if it's actually going to happen? The administration says stuff and then lies about it all the time. Also, $1,776 just isn't really that much. It's also kind of an abstraction to a soldier. If you're like on tour, you know, if you're like an active duty soldier, your money's just accumulating in a bank account while you eat at the cafeteria and jerk each other off all day, right? Like, it's not like you're paying rent over there. I'm not saying they don't use their money at all. I'm just saying it's just a stupid LARP. It sounds like something he came up with 30 minutes before the speech, and I think that it's extremely telling that on the eve of what seems to be potentially like actual military action with Venezuela, that he's interested in tossing money at them, you know? all comes across super, super desperate. Are recruitment numbers up? No, I don't think so. Well, they might, I think they might be up a little bit because the economy's bad. When the economy's bad, more people tend to sign up because it's one of the few like guaranteed jobs you can get, right? As long as you're the right age and reasonably fit, you can pretty much like guarantee, you know, that in college if you're in for 4 years. Recruitment is up, retention stagnated. Yippee! Yeah, I don't know. That was really, really pathetic. Military spouse here. I guess I'll let you know if we ever get that pay, Lamau. Yeah, please. Feel free to. Yeah, I don't know. Just crazy desperate. We're all on board with this, right? I was like 50% on it being this, 50% on it being some kind of desperate Venezuela thing. But yeah, I don't know. They're in a nosedive right now. The Epstein files are getting released soon. Trump is more unpopular than like any president ever, basically, at least as modern polling goes. You know, we only really started doing that polling after World War II. So they're trying absolutely everything, but they're floundering on all accounts. The Epstein file handling from Pam Bondi has been wretched. ICE has stalled. When was the last time you even heard something from Kristi Noem? The Department of Education gutting has not really produced anything newsworthy or interesting, so they can't work with it that much. The economy is doing terribly, so nobody wants to hear anything from fucking Howell or whatever. You know, nobody wants to hear anything from the Treasury. Nobody wants. Doge failed, so you can't work with that. Pete Hegseth, you know, you've got Venezuela, but intervention in Venezuela is pulling about as well as cardiac arrest is right now. So, you know, that's probably not going to work that well. People hate Kash Patel. People hate Kash Patel, and also, right now, 4 days after the shooting, the shooter at Brown University is still out there. While excerpts are coming out from Kash Patel's interview where he sits there with his girlfriend and talks about how he's not corrupt because he only uses the FBI jet to go to some of her shows. You know, 5,000 FBI agents over in Rhode Island are out there like kicking little plots of snow or whatever. It's like the administration has nothing, absolutely nothing at all. Nothing to give you, nothing to promise you, and nothing to distract you with. So yeah, fuck it. Roll the tape. Quickly, another address. Let me tell the nation how good I am and how everything is the Democrats' fault. Let me lie to them and tell them that prices are down, inflation is gone, etc., etc. Nobody buys this. Do you think the more Trump will get put in a corner, the more dangerous he will get? No. I think that would only be the case if you had a president who could exercise a modicum of restraint, but he's already been going like full hog from the beginning. The more infighting there is in the party, the more powerless he gets. I would argue that he is already a lame duck president. Not a day goes by without some extremely embarrassing bullshit coming out of the administration that makes it seem like Trump not only doesn't know what he's doing, but doesn't even have the ability to enact the stuff he wants to do. You know? He's not even signing EOs anymore. Like, at this point, his executive orders have basically already directed every executive administration to, like, be Hitler. You know? Like, he's already written that on paper. For, like, every administrative branch is already like, you know, yeah, okay, thank you, Mr. President. To the best of our ability, we will be Hitler. But there's only so much you can do without law, and Congress isn't doing shit. They attempted the unitary executive theory, but for the most part, they've failed because they haven't really attempted or followed through on the effort to, like, pass law through the president. Was it always destined to be like this, or did he exhaust his political capital from his overbearingness? Well, actually, I would argue that the main fault in this administration, we know that they wanted to end democracy. Like, they wanted to end the American experiment. They wanted to cement Trump in as an authoritarian leader who would be replaced, picked after him, and democracy would, you know, at least until things fell apart, never again reemerge, right? The main thing they could have done to prevent this from happening was mass arrest and or killing of Democratic politicians. That was it. They needed to weaponize Congress, and the best way for them to have done that would have been to just take out enough Democrats in Congress that Republicans could have been running the mill nonstop, you know? They weren't willing to put the nuts on the table, 100%. They were not willing to. And I think the reason for, they tested it a little bit. Remember in New Jersey? They tested it. The arrest of, I'm forgetting the congresswoman, I'm forgetting, and the mayoral candidate, blanking right now on the names. They arrested them over nothing. There have been a couple other instances like this. Newark, Ras Baraka, thank you very much. Yeah, Ras Baraka. There have been a couple of times where it looked like maybe they were going to use ICE as the federal police and just start rounding people up. Just disappearing people, you know? But they didn't. Yeah, they sent troops to cities, but how many did they send? A couple hundred? They were clearly interested in using the military and ICE to end democracy, and they didn't. You know? They were just not committed enough to it. They just chickened out. Well, look, to be fair, there are risks with ending democracy. If he attempted to do that, if they really committed to doing that, a military coup was totally on the table. If it was clear that the Trump administration was disappearing Democratic politicians, like taking over Congress by force, it was entirely possible that the Pentagon could have just stopped responding to the White House. And once the Pentagon decides to not respond to the White House, that's it. You lose. That's it. It's over. That's the line, and once it's crossed, there's no going back, and your administration is not. If you're lucky, you get arrested. Why didn't they do something after the National Guard troops were shot in D.C.? Just didn't want to take the risk? Well, I'm not psychic, you know. My guess is that they were interested in ending democracy, and they were willing to take a bunch of small steps towards that to test what they could or couldn't get away with. But at the end of the day, you know, it's you shit or you get off the pot. You dip your toe in the water to test the temperature, but sometimes, like, eventually you have to jump in, and the water is very, very cold, you know? I think they were interested. I'm glad they failed. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I'm happy I'm happy they failed. They're still very capable of fucking up the country, mind you. It's just that this big sweeping effort to end democracy clearly failed. You know, they had a window of opportunity that might have worked, and now it's passed. Almost certainly, it's passed now. Wait, would the Pentagon have really turned the White House? Sure, they did it after J6. Yeah, the Pentagon, all the brass at the Pentagon are like these stuffy, centrist, you know, West Point college-educated types. They hate Trump. They despise Trump, and they hate Hegseth too. Yeah, I think that probably they would have been waiting for an excuse. Also, if you keep threatening force and violence but barely do anything and don't follow through, you lose a lot of your powers as a fascist. Oh yeah, for sure. People fear them a lot less now. Absolutely. Anyway, I mean, I'm glad they failed. Just if this is their strategy on holding power, you know. I'm a lot more hopeful about next year. Well, you shouldn't be. They're not going to take over the country, but this country still seems to be like inertially slipping into an interminable decline. You know, the Democrats remain worthless, absolutely worthless, and you know, the Republican Party isn't going to be out of power, not after 2026, you know, possibly not even after 2028. The Democrats need to offer something better. And even if they do, the Democrats are probably not willing to undertake the changes necessary to keep this from happening again. It is the American century of humiliation, okay? Don't think it's not a century because Trump was going to live another 100 years. It's a century because these conditions are going to, you know, persevere after Trump. You don't think they'll stack the 2026 elections? Oh, I mean, I'm sure they'll try. They're going to engage in plenty of, you know, what am I blanking on here? You know, voter disenfranchisement. But they've been doing that for decades. I mean, you know. Thoughts on Vance or another more competent fascist Republican ending democracy after Trump's out? No. Trump was the only one who could have done it. The only one who could have done it. It has nothing to do with intelligence and everything to do with charisma and momentum. And Trump has momentum. They can't schmoove like that. They don't have the movement. Also, not gonna lie, like my impression of Vance's intelligence has not it's not gotten better over time, you know? He's still smarter than Trump, but that's a low bar. Yeah, I don't think Vance is that smart. So that was wacky. Is Stephen Miller smart? I don't know. I haven't met him. He's definitely committed. Ooh, that speech was exhausting. Again, I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy that it wasn't a, you know, a speech declaring war on Venezuela or whatever. It's just a unbelievably pathetic. It's just hard to watch. Can you read the plaques now? They're the opposite of boring. Really? Because I find your insistence tedious. We won. GG, everyone. I need to readjust my chair. I feel like my butt's sliding a little bit in the chair. How about them floods in Washington? Yeah, I had to drive over some of that recently. Yeesh. Can we get your spoilery pluribus thoughts after the season ends? No, I don't want to spoil it for people who are interested in watching. I really enjoyed the most recent episode, though. I don't want Mamdani to be president, guys. It's such an indictment of the Democratic Party that that's where we're looking towards right now. Who could run, you know, within the Democratic Party? Who could be a good president? Oh, I know this you know, naturalized citizen, this 30-something New York mayor. Really? Like, is the Democratic Party that bad? It's rhetorical. The answer is yes. But like, we need the party to be good. You guys realize that if you just have an outlier candidate win the presidency, they're not going to be able to do anything. The Democratic Party needs to be good. Like, the party needs to be agreeable, not just one guy. They're paid not to be? Sure, then replace them with more people who have Totenkopf tattoos. Dems have to be against Israel or we gain nothing? Yes, 100%. This is like a pretty solid red line for me. Like, I cannot advocate for a candidate who defends Israel. It's just such an insanely easy moral litmus test. It's unbelievable. So much of our especially in like a populist political environment, the amount of obvious insincerity that has to go into a statement of defense towards Israel. Like you're so obviously bought. You're so obviously compromised. It's insane. No one believes this shit, you know? Nobody falls for it. So I like it's an indicator of a bunch of other things. Oh yeah, that was fun. You know what else is going to be fun, folks? Me reading donations. I know you all love that part, which is why viewership only ever jumps when we do it. E33. We're not doing E33 on a day where I start stream at 4 p.m., my friend. Okay? Also, I really do have to adjust this chair. Maybe like the tension settings? I feel like it's not been comfortable to sit in lately. And it's a Miller Aeron, so it really should. All right, well, at any rate, Pumpernickel, thank you for the incredibly kind $25. I really appreciate that. Thank you. We won, GG everyone. Very true. Sake, thanks the 5 tier 1 subs. Thank you, thank you. To be honest, for controlling all the media and every government, I'm disappointed in my people for being so subtle and ineffective. Is that a reference to you being Jewish, Sake? Sake, you can't be Jewish. Benjamin Gilbert Liff is Jewish. How do you think it makes your people look if my 2 main pay pigs are Jewish? Come on. You guys are doing tropes. Not to mention how it makes me look. What if I get into debate? I debate the neo-Nazis and they're like, hey, aren't you the guy on the Jewish payroll? And I would have to be like, I guess so. Maybe. Sancho, Harrison, and Conciliator, thank you for the tier 1 subs. Really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Zavik, thank you for the tier 4 sub. Super kind of you. Elenita Express, thank you for the gifted tier 1 sub. Semilocon, thank you likewise. And Sarek, thank you for the $12. Would you finally start liking music if I disguised it as Silk Song fan art? Sure. That's as good of a way as any to get me in on it. That's super pretty. Dance Fever. Who is this? I feel like I recognize her. That's super cute. Florence and the Machine. Okay, I've definitely heard of that band name before, though I don't know any songs. Or I don't know any. I don't know if I know any songs. I'm sure I've heard a song. Zupper Nomad, thank you for the tier 2 sub. Hey, funny poll. No, I'm a fan of Tom Strong. I read Tom Strong when I was a kid. My dad had the comics at home. Very good. At least the Alan Moore written bits, you know? I enjoyed it quite a bit. I don't know, I don't think this is like a fascist tendency. I think this is very much a romantic tendency of mine. But for me to really enjoy a piece of media, I need it to have like a hero. It can be a flawed hero or an anti-hero. They can be, they can do many bad things or they can sort of collapse or whatever. But the narrative has to be heroic. I really enjoy that personally. It's what I resonate with. I want there to be like a moral arc that I can follow. Good, bad, whatever else, you know, but I want to follow that. I don't really like it when a story feels like it's, I don't know, sort of like anthropological, if that makes sense. I want to root for people. Game of Thrones is like that. Well, it's complicated. It's complicated. I think it's called a protagonist. No, protagonist and hero are two different things. Lauren, thank you for the 5 Canadian. John, this is the person who's upset with me for not being a warrior for Gavin Newsom. Thank you for the $2 and $5, and also later more dollars. I believe you donated some amount of them. Jared, thank you for the $10. What about AOC, Voss? She teased a 2028 run today. I do not think AOC would make a good president right now. I think that she's too young. I think there's too much negative polarization against her. I think that she's been too quiet for the past couple of years. I just don't see it personally. She's very weak. That's a big part of it too, you know. I don't know. I'd rather her ascend to the Senate and dethrone Chuck Schumer. That would be my preference. Paloma Del Mar, thank you for the $5. Charlie Kirk's consciousness was uploaded to ChatGPT, but not Grok, which is why Grok is still woke. Emish, thank you for the $10. 8K murderers and 25 million people seems pretty low. Those immigrants sure are peaceful. No kidding. Potate Lover, thank you for the $2. Saf911 and Yusuf, thank you for the $5 both. Really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And my pleasure, Saf911. Very happy to endure Donald Trump for everyone's benefit. Didn't the Roman Empire have peace in the Middle East? Well, they did crucify a guy. At least one guy, is my understanding. Yusuf, thank you for the $2 donos. Daniel Salas, thank you likewise. Lately, politics has been feeling more and more Smiling Friends-esque, for sure. Flop Bingus Republic and Tyler Kerr, thank you for the $5 both. He keeps losing the midterms the more he talks. He's exactly why the right's on his heels. Yeah, the more he talks like that, the more defectors there are going to be in the House and Senate against him, you know? I wonder if we actually are going to get those ACA subsidies passed. Doom Guy, Lauren, and Unscary Ghost, thank you for the $5, both US and Canadian. Thank you, thank you. Do you think they just binge-watch all the Nazi interwar speeches from the 30s stored in the Library of Congress? I need to watch those sometime myself, you know? You know what else I need to watch? I need to watch that Mussolini show. There's a lot of like really good information, both actually historical and fictional, on fascism that I want to brush up on, because I think the main thing I've learned from this administration is that returning to 1930s style fascism is as impossible for them as returning to Bolshevism is for the modern day left. Like, for years now, I have said, come on, guys, the material conditions are different. You're not getting like some fucking Red Army Worker Council, you know, military conquest of a bourgeois state and turning it into a proletarian state. But honestly, I didn't give quite as much thought to the idea that maybe the exact same thing was the case for the Nazis. Like, maybe, you know, even people ideologically who are neo-Nazis, like they're in exactly the same boat. And they lack just as much self-awareness. MC Zephyr, thank you for the super kind $20. Here's a thank you from a third shifter for almost always giving me something to listen to on my shift. Was also curious to know if you ever got the chance to play Night Rain, and if so, what you thought about it. I didn't. I'm not that interested in Night Rain, to be honest, because the big pull for me in those games is progression and exploration. So the turning it into a roguelike, I just don't know if I'd enjoy it. Also, I don't really play multiplayer games. Like, I don't play games with friends online, and I wouldn't really enjoy playing with randos, so it doesn't appeal to me. So I'm afraid I have nothing to offer there. But I am happy that, at the very least, I can give you something to listen to on your shift. Ghost of Avalon, thank you for the $10. Billions and billions of boogeymen hopscotching across the border, stealing our beef tallow and ivermectin. Yeah, obviously, you know. The only two things we produce these days. Emish, thank you for the $10. Yeah, I am halfway surprised that Trump did not mention Rob Reiner in his speech. That would have been pretty funny. Abraxon and Ghost of Avalon, thank you for the $5 both. Doom Guy, thank you for the additional $10. As a soldier, watching my very clearly demented president address the nation while we're on the brink of war is very stressful. Well, if it makes you feel any better, I really don't think we're doing boots in the ground in Venezuela. Though, fuck, I don't know, man. Fucking maybe. Russia invaded Ukraine, and that was a pretty dumb idea, so... Downey Green, thank you for the $2. I don't really think you can form a third party, I'm afraid. The political environment, the material conditions, they're just not... M. Defmec, thank you for the $5. Looking for Mexican places in the Auburn, Washington area for when I deliver there. Thank you. I'm sorry, I don't know anything at all about the Auburn area. I mean, you know, I've passed through it, but I don't remember any of the restaurants there. Nova Roma 1, thank you for the $5. Graduated undergrad today with a degree in classics and anthropology. Feels surreal. Also, are you watching Fiona and Cake Season 2? No, because when I watch television, I almost always do it with my beautiful partner, and my beautiful partner has not seen Adventure Time. But don't you worry, we just, earlier today, watched the 5th episode. So we're well on our way, okay? Just 10 seasons of Adventure Time, a couple of Beyond the Wilds or whatever those big 40-minute episodes were. And then we get to, you know, Fiona and Cake. We're well on our way, okay? You can stop at the end of season 3. I disagree. I think that Adventure Time, like early Adventure Time and late Adventure Time, are very, very different. But I do not think that one is better than the other. I just think there's a different scope. I think that what we saw with Adventure Time was an increasing demand for and interest in long-term narrative, right? Like, when Adventure Time was first pitched, I bet you the thought was, this is all basically just going to be episodic. Like, you know, maybe sometimes there will be continuity, but for the most part, it's just about the zany adventures of the kid. But over time, people's interest shifted, and I think they did a really good job of taking all the little breadcrumbs that they introduced early on and turning them into like a real long-term narrative. Any interest in Fallout? Season 2 started today. I haven't seen season 1. I actually heard it was pretty good, pretty okay, so I'm a little interested in it, you know. I've seen some clips that didn't seem too bad. If nothing else, I'm a little bit heartened by the fact that it doesn't look like gray slop. Like the color profile of the shots isn't like hideous and monochromatic. You know what I mean? It looks a little interesting to look at. Are you really only up to season 1? Yeah, episode 5, season 1, because we only just started. I'm half joking, but there's a point where a lot of the plots became centered around thinly veiled sexual dynamics. Have you watched Steven Universe? I mean, yeah, the Adventure Time's a coming-of-age story. That's what you're describing is typical to basically like all coming-of-age stories ever written. Like, you can go back to the 19th century, you can look now, you know what I mean? Like, it's there. I guess it's really just a matter of how it's handled, I suppose. I don't know. Look, I haven't rewatched Adventure Time in ages. I remember it being I don't know, interesting and well handled on that front. Maybe I'm wrong. Lion King has implied sex dynamics. That's true. Red Mag 3, thank you for the very kind $5. Got time to watch Crenshaw beef with a right-wing influencer? Sure.
Congressman Crenshaw, a former Navy SEAL, sent me a message.
This is really long.
Saying, my boys at 6 told me about my criticism of him. My boys at 6. That means SEAL Team 6, the most elite special operations unit in the United States military. I interpreted it as threatening. Maybe he just meant he wanted to have a friendly chat. Now, here's a clip of Congressman Dan Crenshaw saying if he ever meets Tucker Carlson, he will fucking kill him.
Have you ever met Tucker? I ever meet him.
I commented about Congressman Crenshaw throwing an extremely...
So what is this? I'm not sure if I understand what the hook is. What am I engaging with?
Congressman Crenshaw, a former Navy SEAL, sent me a message saying, my boys at 6 told me about my criticism of him.
My boys at 6 told me about your indirect swipe at me. From the comment you made, it sounds like you have some beliefs that are based on trendy narratives instead of facts. Okay, so Crenshaw messaged this guy and said that his, quote, boys at 6 said that you said something wrong about me. Why is this interesting at all?
Congress. I raised questions about how a congressman making $174,000 a year can afford that kind of a lifestyle. Now his
all Congress people are corrupt. Like literally all of them. All of them have taken money. Well, I guess there's Bernie Sanders or whatever.
His lawyers are claiming defamation. They say I accused him of threatening me with a demand letter while serving. This
is boring as fuck. I'm sorry. This is, dude, I'm glad the right-wing infighting is, I don't know, tearing them apart or being annoying or whatever the fuck, but it's literally like, I don't know. They're desperate content hounds. Nothing real is happening here, you know? Dan Crenshaw sent me a text that if you're being weird, you can vaguely interpret as being threatening. Let me pretend that I'm about to be assassinated to silence a big... has anyone ever heard about this before? Did you know that many Congress people have lots of money? They're gonna silence me for propagating this narrative. Like, okay, yeah. It's fucking boring. Sorry, Red Mag, not to like flame you or whatever. It's just like I find this kind of, it's impossible to cover as well because he doesn't believe it. It's just content to him. But I'm never going to be able to convince the people who do find this interesting, and I certainly don't. So. Yes. All right. Well, I think that does it. If my onions are properly oriented, you know. Thank you all very much for the stream. Really enjoyed it. You know where I'm going to be tomorrow? Guess. Just take a guess, folks. You know, no shame for getting it wrong. Though, I mean, I got to be honest. It's not a difficult pitch. Not on stream. Exact opposite of the truth, dumbass. I'm going to be right here. It'll be the last day before the Epstein files get dropped, you know? People might say some funny stuff. How could I miss it? Billy likes to drink soda. Sure, this is a reference to something. Thank you for the $2. Everyone take care. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very, very much. And, man, I need a haircut so badly. Look at this shit, man. I'm like a cat with water. I'm fine showering or bathing or whatever, but getting my hair wet when I'm otherwise dry, I hate it. I get the tingles, you know? I can't stand it. Get an undercut? Do you think I should get like cornrows or like waves or something? You know that picture of me with waves? No, we'll see. We'll all find out together. Take care.